Hey guys, welcome in to Cancel This. Happy Thursday, January 5th. I'm Vic Faust. With Tab of the Hassle, Eric Johnson will be alongside. Scotty Gherkins here. Hey, Scotty, my clumsy butt must have hit the desk over at some point. We'll take a look at my camera shot, all right? Yeah.
You're a little crooked.
I'm off to the side.
Little close up today.
Yeah, so that's the best part about this is that we just we do things as we please. We do things on the run. We make it look as good as we possibly can. Kicking off this Thursday. What a show again. It's what we're about. Bringing you the best interviews we possibly can. Coming up at 7:30. So we welcome people in. Maybe I need to let more people get in. Anyway, 7:30. May do this on a weekly basis because everybody wanted them so bad. Colonel Joe Adams talking about the cartels in our backyards just in Missouri. If you don't think they're in all states in America, think again, not just at the border states.
And even more so now. I don't know if you saw the latest report last night. There was that prison break in Mexico just across the border. And a lot of those folks, they believe, have entered the United States.
Oh, that's wonderful.
These are dangerous people.
Yeah.
One of these guys killed 10 prison guards. And now he's believed to be here in the United States.
All right. Great. Love our border policies. Immigration all the way. We're going to get into that with Colonel Joe at 7:30. Coming up at 9 o'clock. Can't wait to talk to a guy, Bill Brown. He was a member of SEAL Team 8, doing all kinds of things for veterans all across the country. You want to talk about badasses? You swim the Hudson River.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, damn. Love that kind of stuff. These guys, they're a different breed. We talk about the Army Rangers. We talk about the SEALs. And love the fact that he'll be joining us to talk about an event that he has coming up, charitable event, and all things politics, all things America, all things SEALs that he can talk about.
And not only that, but he fights for freedom. He is someone who is definitely not afraid to stand up and fight for this country. And he served 3 tours in Iraq, which is fantastic.
Is that all?
Someone wrote, I know, someone
he
wrote.
couldn't have done a 4th. I mean, come on, Bill.
Someone wrote a book about him, another Navy SEAL. I sent you guys a little excerpt from that last night, and we're going to talk to him about that. I really can't wait.
Looking forward to that. It is Cancel This. Go to canceltheshow.com. The website gets better all the time. Our content continues to get better all the time. We do have original content. If you see something we like, share it. Go out, grab it, share it. Continue to share our show as well. That's how we continue to get bigger. That's what the sponsors like. That's what our advertisers like. That's what people like to tune in and listen to us every day about. We're grateful for that. Lots to get into today. And I'll say it right out of the gate here too. I mean, I just got another text about it as well. Listen, there was a local radio show that got rid of one of their guys. I'm not going to pile on. Okay. I don't know all the details that happened. I'm not getting into it all. Scotty knows him. It is what it is. It happened. There's one thing I've learned in life about my situation. Just make sure you know the full story. I'm not defending anybody. And you kind of go from there. Why somebody does something. As we found out with my situation, there were people who ripped me, which is why I won't pile on people when I got fired. Because you don't know what has been done. You don't know if anybody has, like in my case, I reported this person who I had my situation with 4 times in writing for a month before it happened. Nobody knew what was said to me before I responded, and nobody knew what was continuing to be done to me, which kept me responding. So I've always said, make sure you know the full story before you
no question. And this is such a different story, And this is over at The Point. Tony Patrico, is that his name?
I don't know.
And
I don't even know his first name.
I read up about it last night. I've never heard of him before. I don't know anything about.
I just know if anybody was listening to the show, well, come on over here. We're here. If you're upset, come on over here.
Very different kind of show.
Yeah, but you know what? We're pretty damn good at what we do.
No question about it. But it's a whole different story. I read some of the text messages.
Yeah, I'm not going to pile on or say anything.
Well, I'm allowed to pile on because it was messed up. He deserved, in my opinion, to be canceled. Your story is a different story.
But anyway, that's going on. It's in the St. Louis area. I mean, come on. I made international news. That's St. Louis
And
news,
he
right?
might too. He might too.
I was like, who knows? We'll see. Damn, can't you make international news? I mean, come on. Anyway, we appreciate everybody jumping in. Yeah, people are commenting on that on the chat line as well. We're also going to get into what has become the main theater show, Speaker of the House for the Republican Party. Is it a situation of selected, not elected? Again, when it comes to what happens in D.C., all of the crap that we see going on, Tabitha, up and down and all around. If Kevin McCarthy ends up being Speaker of the House, throw the Republican Party out the window. I mean, it's a joke.
I don't think that. I'm really starting to think that it's not going to happen because
Yeah, he's not going to have. There's
because
no way.
they're these 20 folks are saying they are not going to give up. They are never going to give in. And it's going to come to a point where he's going to have to step aside.
Correct.
And they're going to elect someone else.
Correct.
Which is probably going to be.
I
can't talk today. I smoked too much this morning.
I was like,
No,
we
I don't
lost
even
her.
I'm fading slowly.
Well, I saw you doing those hits outside before the show.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, wait till
I don't
after
smoke,
the show.
but it might sound like I do.
I just don't believe it at this point in time. McCarthy's damaged goods. A pride issue presented itself yesterday. There was evidence brought forward that he was now looking for Democratic support.
Yes.
Boom, I'm off the table. You start talking about feeding your own pride. I won't go anywhere.
He looked defeated.
For the greater good of the entire party. And then you start looking for Democratic support, possibly sharing control with Democrats so that you get to get elected. McCarthy's
now, does
gone.
that tell you everything you need to know?
Yep.
If he's looking for Democrat support, that should tell you everything you need to know.
He's gone. Which brings me to my new favorite politician, Representative Byron Donalds.
Out of Florida.
This guy, he's my hero. This guy is absolutely amazing. I have not seen anybody work the media and control the media as well since Donald Trump. And this guy's young.
Yes.
He's smart. He's black. He's successful. And he doesn't take any crap from anybody, Republicans or Democrats. And go figure. So he got 20 votes. He's like, I didn't come to Washington to run for Speaker of the House. Initially, he voted for Kevin McCarthy. Then when there was no support, he's like, I'm out because he sees it. The other thing, in watching him talk, they're like, why aren't you afraid the Republican Party's going to? He's like, man, I'm 6'2", 275. I'm not afraid of anything.
Good for him.
He's like, I grew up in the streets. Love this guy. And then, of course, as much as he is going to ascend to the Republican Party, I don't think he's not going to be Speaker of the House. He got 20 votes. I don't think Steve Scalise is the name that you're starting to hear from Republicans. Byron Donalds doing what he can do as a Republican, speaking, and because he's starting to get some notoriety, because he's an intelligent black man who is conservative and sees the value of conservative principles and policies, guess who's coming after him? Cori Bush out of St. Louis, who presents herself as an unintelligent, mean, nasty woman who wants freebies for everybody. How dare Cori Bush come out and rip him and call him a prop? She called him a prop, Tabitha.
She said he stood for racism, white supremacy.
This is what we've talked about this on the show before. And
So.
shame on you if you're a black person ripping another black person who is intelligent, who is out there doing what they can, who presents themselves in a good way, who speaks correctly, and won't take any of your crap just because they have a different opinion of you. The sad thing is we've also seen ultra white liberals rip black conservatives in a racist way and not get called out by Democratic blacks. It's sad. It's really sad. Byron Donald is your worst nightmare because he will ascend in some offices and he knows how to play the game already. A successful businessman, a guy who said, you know what? I'm not going to sit back and accept what society is telling me, a la Mark Kaysen at Cardinal Ritter, who says, yeah, I tell all my students that they're oppressed and they should feel oppressed. Yeah. Byron Donalds, I love this guy.
Now,
Absolutely amazing.
Does this mean you're changing your position from yesterday?
In regards to what?
Well, yesterday we had a pretty heated debate in the morning, and you were very much against these 20 Republicans coming out and
the party blow it up. It's
voting
blown up
for McCarthy.
Yeah, it was.
But don't you think we need to blow it up for change?
Well, there's like 4 or 5 prongs of that. One, the 4th vote happened, the 5th vote happened. Republicans, my whole point was the Republicans look like a joke. They don't need to look like more of a joke. That happened with the 4th and 5th vote. So the 20 have just made everything look very stupid. So there you go, fine, whatever. McCarthy looking for Democratic support, I was out. And he did that immediately, 100% out. The fact that he refuses to give in, you got 2 parties who are refusing.
He needs to give in.
Him and the 20. They both need to give in. They should have given in.
I don't agree with that. I think that it's their constitutional right. They are allowed to object.
It's his right too.
Absolutely so.
So there you go.
Absolutely so.
I got my ball. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
But
that's the problem. The Republicans are a joke. Biden seen talking with Mitch McConnell yesterday, smiling in DC while this vote's going on inside. You want to talk about an absolute joke? That's the joke. Cori Bush, you're a joke for ripping, an absolute joke for ripping Byron Donalds. McCarthy, you're a joke for possibly being heard asking what it would take for maybe some Democratic support. What the hell's going on?
Well, I'm glad you woke up.
I woke up.
It took you a night, but you're with it now.
No.
Yeah, because
it wasn't that I woke up. Something happened.
Well,
yesterday.
Exactly. But see, something was already happening before that. You just didn't see it. Now you finally see it. Now you woke up to what was already going on.
If McCarthy would have had a different presentation
just because you didn't
yesterday,
see it doesn't mean it wasn't already happening.
Well,
he was already siding.
Tabitha, you're the woman that says
Democrats.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is the best Republican in Congress.
I didn't say that. I said she's one I like.
No, I asked you. You ripped. I said who's?
I do like her. I'm not changing my mind.
And
on that.
she's still backing your favorite Republican.
I didn't say she was my favorite.
I did.
You asked me which ones I liked, and I couldn't even think of any of their names.
Let me finish. Your favorite Republican is Marjorie Taylor Greene, which says
She's
a lot
not
about
my favorite. I like her.
Yeah,
though.
You said that was your favorite.
I think the comment was not. I don't
Who
know
is
if it was
the real
necessarily
true Republican?
I couldn't even
respect?
when you said that I couldn't even think of any names.
Oh, now you want to
She
come
just
back and make
happens to be
excuses.
a
This is where
name.
Tabitha makes
And
excuses.
no, I'm not making an excuse. I do like her.
Let me finish.
I do like her.
When I asked you who the best Republican was, who you think, you said Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then guess what? Marjorie Taylor Greene
didn't
is.
say she
Let
was
me
the best.
finish. Yes, you did.
I haven't said hardly a word. I'm trying to tell you.
Let me finish. Let me
You've been
finish.
talking for 20 minutes, and I haven't said a word
Tabitha,
about it.
let me finish. Marjorie Taylor Greene is who you brought up. You don't want to.
She is one of the people I like.
You can turn her mic on.
Marjorie Taylor. When I asked you, when you ripped Cruz and Hawley as not being true Republicans, I said, well, then who is the one that you think is the best Republican in Congress? And
I love her.
And you said Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, let me just finish and make the point. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you, Mary, for saying Vic needs to be able to talk. You're going to get your response. You said Marjorie Taylor
Vic's been
Greene.
doing plenty of talking.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is Kevin McCarthy's number one or one of the top supporters for him. So when you tell me, have I seen the light? Have you seen the light?
She's not one of the top supporters.
She is. Let me finish. She's all about Kevin McCarthy, and you said she's the most true Republican, yet she votes McCarthy. So when are you going to wake up and understand that you don't know what you're talking about because McCarthy has her support, and you say it's all a big mess?
Let's backtrack.
So we're all on the same team.
Let's backtrack.
But they're all a mess.
So I can educate you a little bit this morning. Whenever I said that the other day, I do like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I am not changing my mind. I think she speaks up for us anti-establishment folks. I think she does a phenomenal job for her constituents. We need someone like her, but you're speculating, saying she's all about McCarthy. Just because she voted for him as speaker, that doesn't mean she's all about him.
Yeah, that's the point.
And that doesn't matter anyway. What matters to me is the fact that McCarthy has always been an establishment guy. He's, you know when Pelosi,
I agree with you,
as
by the way.
when
He is
Pelosi-
establishment.
Of course he is. And when Pelosi was speaker, and I'm sure you already know this, she did away with a rule they had as speaker. There has always been a little rule
Correct.
where if you had 5 no confidence votes, the speaker had to step down. Well, when Pelosi was in office as speaker, she wanted full control. So she did away with that little rule so that 5 votes of no confidence couldn't remove her. Well, so McCarthy stepping into this role, our 20 amazing hero Republicans took him aside, and this started back in August. This isn't new. And they said, hey, we want to reinstate that rule. And we want, amongst other things they wanted, and they said, we want to reinstate that rule. If we have 5 votes of no confidence, we want to be able to remove the speaker. He said, absolutely not.
Terrible mistake on his part.
Absolutely not. And it could cost him that, amongst many things. It could cost him.
He can't, after what he did yesterday, he can't be considered. He just can't be.
I'm with you.
But
and I'm glad we're on the same page today.
But it wasn't until what happened yesterday, not because I was trying to save the Republican Party's face. They're an absolute joke. Biden's mocking them. The media is mocking them. Republicans are mocking them. And the guy who wins the day is who I already said, Representative Byron Donalds.
And I know, I love that guy. I've never even heard of him.
And
before.
leave it to St. Louis's own Corey Bush to start ripping him, basically calling him an Uncle Tom as a prop because he's an intelligent man, successful businessman, refused to accept what he was born into. And now he's in DC saying, nobody's going to hurt me. I'm the man. And he wins the day. Nobody else wins. The 20 don't win. The Republican Party doesn't win. McCarthy doesn't win.
I think in the end, the 20
Representative
do
Byron
win.
Donalds is who wins.
I think the 20 win. I think they stood up for themselves. That's what we need. It's 20 today, 40 next time, 60 the time after that.
Well,
and that's how we win.
Right now, there is no winner. There's no winner because at the end of the day, it's about your team. It's not about your own little nuances.
Little nuances.
But it's seven.
That's what Tabitha is a little nuance.
A little thorn.
She's on fire, man. This last couple of days.
I'm very passionate
just a
about
rock
this
star.
topic.
Well, she doesn't like having comments brought back up that she's made.
No.
I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. I am not backtracking despite her vote.
She was
here.
following McCarthy around yesterday like a little puppy dog. If you see the video, she's just looking, please, let me play.
Yeah.
Let me play.
Marjorie would have been more well spoken than Boebert was yesterday.
I agree with you on that.
Oh, Boebert was actually good yesterday. I watched her speech yesterday on the floor. She was outstanding. I heard she was a little cuckoo last night on.
She got crazy. Like it was almost unlistenable.
It wasn't good.
It was not a good look for her at all.
She should have
being from Colorado. She probably should have taken a gummy right before she went on. Hannity.
Just a corner.
It's one of her state's products. Just come on, somebody give that woman a gummy.
It did remind me of all of us when I saw that. Her and Hannity both talking over each other, both trying to make their point at the same time.
200 people, 201 people want McCarthy. 201. Keep that in mind. We keep talking about the 20. That's great. There's 20 guys. And usually, and actually it's more like 10. There's just 10 of them that are they're siding right now with the Freedom Caucus.
Has your mind changed at all? Or do you still feel
well, I'm kind of like
you did yesterday?
I'm like this. It seems like the Republicans, you need a collective. There's a bullpen. If someone's not able to get on the mound and pitch, you got to go to the bullpen immediately and get somebody that can do it. And it seems like the Republicans have a ton of people that would be good candidates. Scalise is a good choice. Seems like would be a good choice. They all seem like they would be good choices. If you don't trust, if there's a trust factor between a faction of your party and one guy, and you can get a coalition of everybody to vote for one person, and they're all going to do the same thing. All their issues are the same. Border is going to be the same. Term limits, that's an interesting one. That seems like they could come to an agreement on that.
But they're not coming to an agreement. And that's why we're in the position that we're in. Because I went through a list last night, Eric, of all the things that these 20 Republican House members want. And they were very reasonable. They were all things that we want and we need. And McCarthy refuses to abide by it.
I think McCarthy, again, I said it yesterday, and it kind of happened yesterday. They need to start trying this in the court of public opinion. And McCarthy needs to come out after each one of these votes and start talking to the American people and not so much behind closed doors.
He doesn't get it, Eric.
Yeah,
He
he
was-
doesn't.
Yesterday, he
Yeah.
lost me after this whole Democratic support deal. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
You know what? That is a death nail, especially at this time of our country when you had Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi for 2 years running rampant over the most toxic time in the Congress I've ever seen in my life. You need an antidote to what she did and the Democrats did for 2 years. And now you're going and saying, well, we'll put a little Democrat spin in there if you vote for me. What?
I know.
Are you high?
I
No,
know.
bye. Now, see, if the more
It's-
that comes out, if you don't get him on Brett Baer today and say, what in the F? And I need Brett Baer to say that, actually.
Brett Baer's an
I need
idiot.
Brett Baer to go, what in the F were you doing talking with Democrats about
He's not going to do
supporting
that
you?
because Brett Baer is an establishment guy. He's going to be right in
You
line,
need gut feel for that or something.
somebody different. And and this is
I'm
Boom.
glad you called him Gutfield. I like calling
Gut-
him that.
gut feel.
Because the court of public opinion, what happens outside of those doors, Tabitha,
We've got-
might be the thing that pushes whatever needs to go where.
We'll have to
Well,
ask Colonel Joe Adams
yeah.
what he thinks.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about this and what's happening with the Republican drama. Yeah, the Republican parties, and it's not in a good state right now. But whatever, things can go up and down. There's lots of ebbs and flows, and somebody who's seen a lot of ebbs and flows in his life.
Well, is
is
it
our-
not in a good state? I'm going to have to side with Tab on that a little bit.
Well, we'll
I mean,
go.
could it be something where
Could be.
What
Well, we got
could-
Colonel Joe on. He's been waiting there.
where's he at? I don't see
Well,
him.
that's you don't look at the show notes that we send out.
No, but I don't see him on the screen.
Because we
right.
introduce him and then he pops up.
Oh, I didn't know we had
That's
protocol
how we do
anymore.
that.
Eric, yeah, he's
Oh my
not.
God, we got
Hey,
a
I'm
green
I'm
trying
room
trying
to
to
now?
organize stuff over here.
Hey, we
Wow.
brought Scotty in and we got good things.
I noticed the
going on.
yellow background now. That's kind of cool.
It is cool. With that being said, we bring in our good friend Colonel Joe Adams to cancel this morning. Hey, Colonel, you like all the back and forth, the fighting, trying to get true leadership in Washington, right?
I can't say on the air exactly how I feel about that, but
Sure, you
Hey,
can.
Colonel, guess what? This is podcasting.
Yeah.
There's no
Well,
FCC regulation.
I don't need a bunch of black helicopters with no tail numbers landing in my yard.
He's got
Oh.
enough. They deliver him his
That's
coffee every
why he
morning.
says he can't say what he feels.
Actually, they buzzed my house yesterday and was photographing my house.
Really?
Stop it.
Yeah.
Could you tell what kind of
No, I knew the pilot. It's okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I knew.
wow.
That's the creepiest
Hey,
thing.
so hey,
Do you want to comment on this? I'm sure that you're part of the collective here. This looking in on our Congress right now. What do you think's going on over there in the?
actually, I wasn't listening. Actually, I wasn't listening to your show. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No. Okay. Well, then let me back up. Let me back up.
Let Eric start over.
So we have. Yeah, I mean McCarthy. I mean, I'll just start there. The Speaker of the House. Have you been following that at all, or is it something that just it doesn't
No, I'm
interest you? When
No, I've been too busy working the cartel problem.
And that's
in
what we
Franklin
had him
County.
on today for, was the standpoint of
No,
cartels.
well, I
You
don't know
brought up
how
the
you
past.
spent your day yesterday, but I had the new cartel members who have moved into Franklin County under surveillance. So,
Oh my God. Get everybody up to date because
And
people don't associate.
and the
Franklin
police are
County
doing
with
nothing.
Cartels.
I mean, it's Vic, we talked before. It's been a couple years ago or longer that the cartel has moved into St. Louis and getting organized. Well, guess what? Now they're in Franklin County. So if they're in Franklin County, where else are they? So, and the police are doing nothing. You know, defund the police. That's a real good idea. So I dealt with the police yesterday, and they basically told me to stay out of it. And so I took it upon myself to take action and identify these people, and that's about all I can say. I mean, the cartel is in Franklin County now and in Washington, Missouri, and the police are doing nothing about
right
it.
in our own
Period.
backyard. And now, Joe, I'm assuming
no.
they are here
Yeah.
here with drugs. I mean, that's the main reason why a cartel is in the United States is to traffic drugs. I'm assuming.
Right. Yeah. Organized crime, and they are getting organized, but they're here. This was the first time that that had any engagement with the cartel that's moved into Franklin County. It happened yesterday. They were harassing one of our store owners. They called me because I command the Washington Guard here, the militia. I go down, the police are there. It turned into a long event. The police did nothing. They didn't identify them. These people have no plates on their cars, okay? No license plates, causing a disturbance. They're from Nicaragua. Now that's another fascinating thing. People think it's the Mexican drug cartels. Well, they don't have to be from Mexico to be a part of the cartel. These people were from Nicaragua. Now, I happen to know a little bit about Nicaragua, so I talked to the police and I said, I can translate for you because I'm fluent in Spanish. And they said, well, we don't, because we can't understand them because they don't speak very good English. Well, that's crap. So I tried to intervene and help the police figure out who these people are and identify them. And the police wanted to have nothing to do with it. In fact, they told me to leave, to walk on down the street. I said, well, first of all, do you know who I am? No. I said, I'm licensed by the state of Missouri to protect persons and property, right? No. I said, did you ask me? I said, who are these people? I said, did you ask these people why they're in Washington, Missouri causing a problem? No, we can't do that. Really? I said, I noticed protect and serve has been taken off your vehicles. So you're no longer protecting and serving the community? I said, I'm a homeowner and a taxpayer and a licensed investigator, and you're not interested. No. So we've got this covered. I said, you've got this covered. Who are these people? I said, on that one truck that they're driving, there's a Texas plate on the back. Don't you find that strange? You got a bunch of Hispanics in a vehicle with a Texas plate. Did you run the plate? No. Why not? Well, this is just a disturbance call. Really? So anyway, so I took it upon myself to put these characters under surveillance. I know where they live. I know where they stay. I know who they associate with. And the police do nothing. And I also just noticed, my topic today was going to be about school safety, because I've had a recent issue with school safety. But I got sidetracked on this cartel stuff because that just came up yesterday.
It's very
Well,
important.
the cartel stuff that should be the headline right there. And the thing before you go to the school safety thing is, so if you can't do anything with the police right there, first of all, I would say that everybody should call Franklin County Police and ask them about the incident. For everybody listening to this show,
Eric.
should call up the police and say, what the hell is going on? If that gets nowhere, then the local media should get involved, and that should be brought to the attention of 2, 4, and 5, or us or whoever, and start to say Franklin County, it sounds like, is condoning cartel traffic down there.
So it's like when I talk to the police, though, in every jurisdiction, and I'm in constant contact with the police, they all say the same thing. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do.
What would you like to see? What would you like to see the police do, Colonel?
Again,
it's not a trick question.
Well, when I asked the police officer recently, if you have a knife-wielding suspect, outsider in a school, would you draw your gun and shoot him? And they couldn't answer that. And so that's why I started investigating school safety in the area and come up with some answers to my questions that were unbelievable. So can I get into that about school safety?
Sure.
The cartel is a problem that's coming down the road, and it's already here. School safety. So I had some concerned parents come to me and say, would you talk to our school board about school safety? This is not in Washington. This is another county. And I said, yeah, sure. I'll do that for you, because they have students in those schools. So I go meet before the school board, which consisted of 3 people, the superintendent and the resource officer. Is that what they call them? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
What is that? Resource officer
for police officer at the school.
Yeah. Okay. So the police officer who's in charge of security for the schools. And there was an administrator there from the superintendent's office. And I said, I've got some questions. How many police officers do you have or security personnel on campus? One. I said, well, how many campuses do you have? 4. So obviously this man can be in 4 places at one time. You have 1 officer. Yes.
Joe,
Now what
Rockwood School
Oh.
District, the largest in the state. I think they have like 17 campuses. We were talking to Ty Dennis about this. He's their head. I think he said there's 2 of them covering 17 campuses.
I said, so, okay. But I had done some research on this system, the school system, before I got there. And so I already never ask questions that you already don't know the answers for. So I know what this resource officer or whatever he is, the security guy, I know what he makes a year. So that is their entire budget to protect 4 campuses. Now I know how many students they have. Okay. So I did the math. So based on their budget to protect these students, it comes down to $19.95 a year to protect a child. $19.95. That's it. So I asked the police officer, I said, what would you do if you had a knife wielding outsider inside a school? Would you draw your weapon and shoot him? Well, I don't know. I would have to analyze the situation. What's to analyze? What you ever heard of Uvalde down in Texas where all them children were slaughtered?
Yeah.
Think about the horrors that these young children had to suffer in their final moments. They heard them children screaming and they did nothing. Nothing.
So what's the current threat that you see down there? Do you have like intelligence or something, or is it just they're not prepared?
No, they keep telling me the same thing. There's nothing we can do. Really, nothing we can do. Well, send me in. I mean, there's nothing we can do. $19. This school system that I interviewed spends $19.95 per student per year for security. Now that's really sad. That's really sad. Oh,
and Joe, you know, the Biden administration, they want to remove resource officers from schools.
Yep.
They're backtracking. They want to remove them.
But the Biden administration likes school shootings.
They do.
These are evil.
They make a lot of money on school shootings.
Yeah, these are evil people. We have elected officials who are evil. They like it because every time there's a school shooting or any kind of shooting whatsoever, it puts one notch on their belt to get rid of our guns.
Yes.
Law-abiding citizens defending their families, protecting themselves against the tyrannical governments, and they like it.
Is this something that's starting to come into your backyard that you've seen in other parts of the country that you're like, oh my God, this is finally in Franklin County. It's in Washington, Missouri. Is it something that's new to that area? Or is
What are you
talking about, Eric?
No, I'm just saying, I mean, it seems to me like I don't remember hearing, there's no threats to any school districts around my house. And I'm just wondering.
Eric, listen to this. So I asked the superintendent, I said, you're kidding me. $19.95. And I said, are your teachers allowed to carry concealed weapons if they're qualified and trained? Oh, no, can't do that. I go, why not? Other districts do it. Oh, because our insurance company won't allow it. So you got some desk jockey in some other state sitting there in a suit telling you you cannot protect your children because of the amount of insurance you have. So they've put a price tag on our children based on budget, and that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Glenn says instead of sending billions to Ukraine, we could have funded security protection for every school in America.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. So
shows where our priorities are.
I came up with a new term, and I invented this. In like the fact checkers out there, do not fact check my new term, because I come up the other morning and I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing my little ramping and raving and developing my intelligence network. And because of the time difference between here and Ukraine, it's, so societal suicide. This is a new term that I just developed. is called societal suicide. We are committing societal suicide. Now, there's no such phrase. I just made it up.
Seems like
So I thought, well, wait a minute. Just because I'm so smart, let me Google that. Do not Google societal suicide, and here's why. Suicide hotline will call you back.
Really?
Do not. Oh yeah.
I had
It
no
really-
idea.
Oh, neither did I. Three times.
the term makes
Three
sense,
times.
but couldn't it be more societal murder? Because I don't think communities want to be suicided. I think that it's like what you say. It's like that people just don't know what they don't know, and they would love their schools to be protected, but they don't understand 90% of what we're talking about here.
We know. We just won't do anything about it.
So you think the
Nothing.
parents know that these schools are unsafe and they're unprotected?
Well, that's why they came to me and asked me to interview the school board. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, Uvalde never had a problem before, and now all them children are dead.
And that's exactly how it happens, Joe. Just like Eric said that school districts in his area aren't at risk, but just because we don't hear about a threat doesn't mean that a school is not at risk. Because as soon as we are lax on security, that gives another student, another bad actor, a good reason to go into that school.
Well, this school system I interviewed is based on budget. Their insurance company will not allow them to protect the children.
Yeah,
because
we
they
also
don't want
had
to pay the
somebody
money.
else say, get another insurance
Crazy.
company, and guess what? You're not going to have a lot more success with other insurance companies either. At least with my experience with
No.
insurance companies.
Colonel, do you think that people are reaching out to the Washington militia because now that police officers aren't doing anything, because school boards aren't doing anything? So they're literally diverting phone calls from people that used to take care of these problems over to you. Is that starting to happen?
Well, the police officers didn't have any answers because they say the same thing. When I was living in Richmond Heights, I would ask the cops. I go, "What the hell's going on?" They goes, "There's nothing we can do. They won't
their
allow
hands
us
are
to do our
tied.
job."
That's right.
Defund the police? Oh, that's a really good idea. Defund the police. No, we are committing societal suicide. We are destroying.
are.
I mean, the Roman Empire did the same thing. We are just lackadaisical attitude. Don't want to get involved. Everybody thinks this is going to work it's going to work itself out. No, it's not. We're going downhill fast. Every muster, when I get the guard together, the militia, I tell them it's hard to believe that this country is in worse shape than it was a month ago. Every day we go downhill further. We have lost our minds. People do nothing. Nothing. It's societal suicide.
I mean,
Don't Google it. I'm telling you right now.
You expect to hear this in downtown St. Louis. You do not expect to hear this story about Washington, Missouri.
Well, that brings us up to the point where Joe was telling us about the cartel. Some of our
Right.
listeners, Joe, were like, how can you be so sure it was the cartel? And then somebody else said, well, you said that one of the cars had plates, but another one didn't.
Right.
So there were multiple cars. And how do you know that it's the cartel?
The police released those characters. Did they ask the right questions? Nope. You like my hat, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every place I go.
That's
So off topic. When I go places and I wear this hat, people go, "Hey, I like your hat," and I go, "Well, if you don't like my hat, we got nothing to talk about." So the police are hands are tied. They're not allowed to do their job. Let me comment on something else. Did you see on the news the other day that they graduated 13 new police officers from the academy in St. Louis City? 13. So
Remember what it used to be?
gradu-
What the number used to be?
Ha! I mean, a minimum of 30 at a time, right?
Yes.
Now I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyway. One of the police officers that graduated from that class was so morbidly obese, they couldn't do their job. Now, I attended the police academy before you guys were even born. I knew the physical challenge it took. And of course, I maxed out the physical test. I maxed it and I trained hard. There's a police officer that graduated in that class that is so morbidly obese, there's no way in hell they could have passed the physical test. and they graduated 13 police officers. Where are we up to now? 256 short police officers.
It's around that total.
Yeah, nearly 300.
I think is it nearly 300? Who wants to be a cop? So they have lowered their standards so far that we have a morbidly obese police officer. Now, how fast do you think they can run somebody down and tackle them? Right?
It's the
They can
same,
do their job.
Joe. It's the same with the military. They have to continue to relax standards, and what used to be, there used to be certain things you had to meet to be a recruit, or to join the military, and that has all changed because we're desperate for people.
Why would they want to participate in something they can't even do their job? They're not allowed to do their job. Look, nobody respects the police more than I do, but they are just their hands are tied. And it starts at the top. Now, so who's making these calls that they can't do anything? These police officers, when they had the cartel on the side of the road, and of course I showed up because the public called me and said, "Oh, by the way, we got some problems out here." Okay, I'll take care of it. The cops did nothing.
Okay, let me
But
ask
Joe,
you this.
I have to ask it again. The
Okay.
same person's asking me again. They're like, Joe, how do you know it's the cartel? Somebody
Good
continues to say he's avoiding the question. He's avoiding the question. If that's something you can't talk about, that's fine. I get it.
No. Look. You, Vic, you've known me for years. Tabitha, you know who I am. Eric, I don't know you. Okay, so
Which scares me.
50, shut up, Eric. 53 years in the intelligence industry. People have paid me a fortune over the years for my opinion. And the people I protected, they were trying to kill. All right. And I protected some people in strange countries, exotic places. These people are cartel. So let me ask you a question. Why are 8 Nicaraguans in downtown Washington causing a disturbance? Really? They're not down here to tour the historic sites. This is cartel. Listen to me. This is cartel.
They weren't
And
there
the
trying to
police-
join your militia, were they?
No, they were not. And when I told them that who I was, they couldn't believe it. Because as I was leaving the house and I told my wife where I was going, that we got a problem. We got some people downtown causing problems.
Yeah.
So I go into my museum and I grab Adolfo Calero's hat, which I have. Okay, former president and leader of the Contra rebels, and put it on, and it says Fuerza Democrática Nicaragüense. Okay, FDN. When those guys saw that hat, they put 2 and 2 together. And when I started speaking to them in Spanish, they didn't know what to say. All of a sudden,
Hopefully they left then if you think they're a threat.
Look, I'm telling you, the cartel's here. 53 years experience in the intelligence industry. I know these characters. They're here.
And it makes
That's
sense
why I
why
put 'em
they're
in the
here.
Is it possible that the local police now that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but is it possible that the local police are like, we have no jurisdiction here. It's probably better that you just move along because they know that there is an agency that's on them already that's maybe investigating them, that's behind the scenes. It's like, look, we got this covered.
No.
Don't worry about it. And did you get that feeling at all?
Nobody's investigating anybody. No, they were more concerned about me leaving than they were these characters. Now, wait a minute. If I pulled up with a car with no plates and didn't speak English, wouldn't they continue the questioning about who these characters are? What I said, I asked the cops, I said, did you ask them why are they here? No, we can't do that. Really? Now you tell me to walk on down the street and mind my own business, but you're telling me you can't ask these people who they are, where they came from. I said, did you run that plate on the back of that one truck from Texas? No. Why not? Did you run the VIN number? No. Why not? Well, we can't do that.
So what's the next step in all this? Because this is interesting. Nobody wants cartel members within any 100-mile radius of St. Louis proper, that's for sure. And is there anything that you can do from this point forward Is this a PR thing that you guys have, a marketing thing to get the word out? Hey, there's cartel guys in our backyard. What's the next step?
But
for
Eric,
you guys?
guess what? The cartel for the drugs have been in St. Louis for well over a decade.
Well, identify them and
Just
point them
not
out.
in Washington, Missouri, which means
Yeah.
they're relocating out further
What?
into areas where
Yeah.
where we live.
Well, why wouldn't they go to urban America? It's
Right.
it's a soft target. This is a soft target. People don't realize this. They can get away with murder here. It's a soft target. And when I talked to the vendor, the shopkeeper, he said, "Uh-oh, we got a problem. Who are these people?" I go, "Well, don't ask the police because the police don't care."
Now you are locked into your buddies in the intelligence world, I guess. Do you ever have a chance to talk to them and say, "Hey, I found out some stuff. Can you give me a little info?"
Well, this just happened yesterday. This is a whole new development. This is the first time the cartel has surfaced in Franklin County, visibly surfaced. So where this is going to go, I have no idea. But
Joe,
the
before
reason, go ahead. I mean, the reason that I started the militia here in Franklin County is because I see this coming. I'm not, nobody pays me to do this.
So it's better
This
that
is my
it's an
my
ounce of
obligation to
prevention.
America.
So you're saying it's
again,
an
Eric?
ounce of prevention. We need to prevent what could be coming down the road. It's easier to pick it off now than maybe when it's completely ingrained in the society down there.
We need to let our police officers do their job
no
and
question.
get qualified people. I mean, the two most underpaid people in the world, other than Tabitha and Vic, are police officers and our teachers. I mean, what's wrong with us?
100%.
Suicidal society. I mean, we're not. We've lost our minds.
Yeah.
Now,
This has
Joe,
gotta stop.
Yep.
I want to throw something in there before we head to break. We're going to be going to break
No,
soon.
we got time.
Oh, perfect. Because what I'm wondering, and I know a lot of other people are wondering, and I believe I have the answer to this, but I'm hoping you can explain it for everyone else. Why would a Nicaraguan drug cartel move into Franklin County and operate? A lot of people, I understand the advantages of that, but a lot of other people may not.
I already explained that. It's soft targets.
Right, but
My
people may
wife's
not
my
understand what
wife's-
soft target means.
My wife's handing me notes. What does this say, Deanna? What is
Were
this?
they passing through?
Oh, no. So during my course of surveillance yesterday, I find them. They had been at the Walmart asking for donations for money.
Right, of course.
So
I've
then
seen
they
that.
end up.
Yes.
So I made the rounds trying to find where the rest of them were, and I found them in a facilities that it would appear they're renting, and the same characters that caused the disturbance downtown were all there. So they're here. They've come in the community, but it's about soft targets. They're developing. I mean, just because they're not Mexican doesn't mean they're not part of the cartel. The cartel's recruiting all of these people.
Yeah, right.
Of course.
This is organized crime.
And they know the police
This
aren't going to do anything. They have plenty of land out there to take over. It's a central location in the Midwest, very close to major interstates, very easy, interstate for drug trafficking or sex trafficking for that matter.
Oh yeah, I mean this is organized crime. This is that trilateral organized crime from Central America. They're here. People better be aware of that. And at the same time, the government wants to take your guns. So the government wants to remove the only device that you have. The most important thing that you can have as an honest citizen is a weapon.
Even in Washington, Missouri?
Yep.
What?
It is a weapon. Hell,
Have
I
you
sleep with a
talked to-
gun.
What about highway patrol? What about talking to some of the representatives out of Jefferson City?
They know.
Well,
Do they know?
I guarantee Missouri Highway Patrol
Oh,
knows.
of course.
There is some conversation about organizing a state militia, a legitimate state militia, and I do know I'm on the short list to command the state militia.
Via
I
the
saw it.
governor's office? Is that through Parson?
Yeah, I'm on
Wow.
the short list. So, and do I want the job? No, I don't want the job. If I have to do the job, I'll do it. They're probably going to end up appointing a person that maybe is more politically correct than I am, So I don't think I'm. It's nice to be. In fact, I'll tell you who mentioned who actually put me on the list, and that was Mark McCloskey.
Makes sense.
Mark McCloskey's got the governor's ear, and he told me that they put me on the list. So we'll see
Is
what
it
happens.
something we can reach out to that the governor's office? Can we reach out
Absolutely.
and ask the question?
Absolutely.
Or is it too
I don't
covert for that?
Right. What can the people do?
I have no. I don't know.
Let me
No,
tell
I
you
try
what
and stay out of it. My political statement is on my hat, and that's about as far as I go.
Let me tell you how this works. I worked in local news for 24 years. Here's how you get things done, or at least bring things more mainstream. You have to act in a polite way, but a persistent way, meaning day after day after day after day. And you need lots of people in a coordinated effort to contact your politicians, to contact us, to make calls of that nature, to get interviews like we're doing with Colonel Joe. We're doing the interview. We're doing our part. We're trying to keep everybody one step ahead, which is what this show has always been about, not just regurgitating what you hear on a national scene. And if there's one thing I know about Joe, and a lot of people may not know about Joe, the last thing he wants to do is be in a situation like this. Joe has had a career of training armies to deal with governments, to get people going. Does that mean Joe continues to still want to do this? No, Joe, I'm sure you'd love to be able to sit down, try to teach your dog to actually obey your commands for once in your life, have a coffee, enjoy the life that you have left, because you always tell us you're not going to be around for long and things aren't getting any better. So with that being said, some people may think that you're going overboard. I don't think you are. And people also need to understand that they need to take an active role. And that's how you take an active role, by letting people know.
Oh my God. If there is cartel in Franklin County, that's the big story of the day. If there's cartel, like Tabitha said, sex trafficking and drugs, those are the two big boys.
There's cartel in Columbia, Missouri.
Then at least
every major city in America.
What about St. Charles? Is there
yes.
Is there cartel in St. Charles?
Yes,
Colonel. Absolutely.
Is there really? I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
That's news to me.
Absolutely. Let me tell you about the. Okay.
There's people.
This is another.
There's money to be made with drugs.
Active cartel.
Eric, look at the fentanyl problem.
Highway 70, Eric, right through St. Charles.
There's another topic that we should address before you kick me off the air. Okay. Gun shows. Now it's hard to say that a gun show is a family event because you mentioned guns. I've been going to gun shows for 50 years. All right. The gun shows have changed. Every gun show I go to now with my friends, there is an altercation, physical altercation, fights break out. Did you just see what happened in Kentucky? Where a gunfight broke out at the gun show, and they've banned now the gun shows in that town?
That's crazy.
The criminal element. So I was part of a sting operation with ATF that stopped gun trafficking to North County and St. Louis. And I take credit for it. I don't care. People can know. When I found out who was running guns to North County to the gangbangers, I went to the ATF. Eventually, the ATF took them off. We stopped it. These guys bragged about selling guns to criminals. Well, I'm not gonna put up with that. I mean, that's just sacrilegious. So the gun show atmosphere has changed. Every gun show now, fights break out, guns break out, and guns are stolen. I did not witness this, but I had a gun dealer come to me and say, a guy stole 3 AR-15s and ran out the back door of the gun show and got away. Now, what do you think he's going to do with them guns? Every gun show, there's thefts now. People come in, cause diversions, and steal guns. We got a problem.
That's a big problem.
So, oh no, this is the criminal element now has entered the gun shows and are stealing guns right and left. Every show.
How do we fix that? I assume that we have to hire security.
I have the solution. I have the solution, and I'm implementing it in March. The last time I did your show, I talked about February. There's an incident. There's something coming in February.
I remember.
And now it's not going to be in February. It's going to be in March. And
Ooh.
I'll if you want to be back on your show, I'll announce that.
Yes. Can you give us a little?
A week prior to the show. No. I'm putting a stop to this gun theft. I'm putting a stop to it. Period.
Yeah, we're
That's
talking
not
about having
gonna
Joe
do-
on a regular basis right now because I know a lot of people.
That's not going to happen in Franklin County. I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm not out here. I'm not out here playing wet towels. Okay, this is serious. My
AKA
wife.
grab ass, Eric.
I got you. Man.
No, I'm not playing wet towels. I've had it. That's it. I'm the line in the sand.
And if you
Period.
can clean, if that's going on in Franklin County, there's hope to clean it up all over the place. You could serve as a
If
template.
you have a Joe in every county.
Well,
But
see,
you don't.
You don't have a Joe in every county.
And that's why he moved to Washington County to take care of his family, take care of the folks out there. And, he'll be stretching himself pretty thin if he's working around the country.
I had to develop a defensive posture. And you know where I lived? I lived in one of the most exclusive houses in St. Louis. And when Ferguson blew up, who did they all come to protect the community? Me. And I did. And in my subdivision that I lived in, scathed any kind of problems because of what I did. I brought my team in, secured the community. The police come to my house during Ferguson and said, we understand that you're taking care of this community. I go, that's right. And they go, thank you. We have one less problem to deal with. Take care of it. I go, I got this.
It seems like it's not politically. Do you feel like it's not politically correct anymore?
Say again?
No, I'm just wondering, does it seem like it's not politically correct to protect yourself? Because you bring up Ferguson and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to be bringing out the big guns myself to protect this community. Doesn't it feel like it's not politically correct to protect yourself? That's racist or that's something. There's a pushback against it.
Oh, during the Obama administration, when I was working with Border Patrol, every time we had an engagement out there, the Border Patrol investigators would come up and say, hey, Colonel, we're sorry, but we're here to make a case on you. We're here to stop you. You got to be kidding me. He said, we're just doing our job. What took place? Was there gun action? Was there firing? Did you detain them? Did you stop them during the northern travel? I mean, they sent an investigative team every time we engaged the cartel to investigate me and how I handled the situation.
That's
Obama.
Now, what Colonel calls societal suicide.
Yep.
Societal suicide.
Brutal.
Don't Google that. I'm telling you, do not Google societal
You'll
suicide.
Get a phone call from some caseworker.
No.
Which I'm glad to hear that. That's a good thing because we have a lot of mental health problems and people who need help. So that I'm glad to hear that there's help like that.
Eric, Eric.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You go ahead and Google it.
No, I'm fine with it. I feel pretty good about myself right now. I don't need that help. I want to come down there. Every time you get on the air with us, I'm just
Eric. We're planning a shooting day with Colonel Joe that we're going to videotape.
Nice.
Scott, you, myself, Tab, we're taking a field trip. We're going to videotape a shooting and touring the grounds or whatever Colonel will let us show with the militia.
Yeah.
You know how I spent yesterday evening after I got off surveillance on the cartel? I came home and started up my tank. I wanted to make sure everything was proper.
I smell a diesel in the morning. I love it.
What are you doing in the garage? I said, I'm warming up the tank. She goes, uh-oh. Why are you warming up the tank?
Yeah.
I said, for the appropriate reason.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the government hasn't asked you to send it to Ukraine because I think we're out of weapons to send.
No more Shermans.
Social suicide, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Colonel, we appreciate you taking time to join us again this morning. We are going to make this more of a regular thing. You have a lot of fans. We appreciate you letting us know about what you see happening in Franklin County. I know that nobody knows more about what the cartel is than you in this country after you worked the border for 12 years. We didn't tell people, if they're new listeners and viewers, that you were part of the best force the country's ever had at the border for 12 years, saving thousands and thousands of women's lives, kids' lives being trafficked, trafficked, and of
Yeah.
course had $1 million hit on your head from the cartels at one point in time.
And Colonel, I ask you this question right now because I've had 2 texts now. Are you serious about us calling up the Franklin County Police Department and doing some citizen recon on cartels in that area?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
All right.
Yeah, I'm just glad that our
I mean,
friend Mark introduced you to me many years ago.
Okay.
We had the police chief. We had the police chief on the phone yesterday, going, "What the hell's going on?
Okay.
What the hell's going on?"
Before
that's
we
what's
get too
going on.
far, Joe, I want to throw this out there because every single time you're on, people ask, how can I get a hold of Colonel Joe Adams? How do I join the Washington Guard? And people can email you at WashingtonGuard9, the number 9, WashingtonGuard9 @gmail.com.
Yes. Administration will get back to them because we have gotten huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
For all the wrong reasons.
Okay.
I'm not, like I say, I'm not playing wet towels. So, and I'm sorry about being all over the board today about school shootings and all these other things, but there's so much going on.
They kind of coincide, Colonel.
Oh, it's all
Yeah.
great information.
Well, I got the tank warmed up, so we're ready to rock and roll.
That sounds good, baby. That's our tagline for today. Colonel Joe Adams, the Washington Guard. Tabitha just told you how you can learn more about it. Washington County Guard. We appreciate you joining us. We'll check back in with you next week, my friend. Thanks again. Keep us posted.
You are free to go.
Amen, brother. And he's out. That's how an interview needs to end.
Exactly.
Just like that.
Like breaking
Well
the
done.
huddle. Ready?
Break.
I love Joe. I try not to even ask too many questions because I just want to hear him roll with it.
Who
He's
knew
fantastic.
Who knew there was the Nicaraguan, I can't even say it, cartel
Eric,
in St. Charles, Missouri?
If we had more
I
time,
didn't.
we would blow your mind.
I don't need
with
any
where the cartels
mind-blowing
have
anymore.
infiltrated.
That's why I
right
love this
here in
show.
Missouri.
That's Eric.
Yeah.
That's why we love this show. That's what we try to do, is do things that other media aren't doing. Be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Not follow the puck. Go where the puck isn't, as Wayne Gretzky said.
Yeah, true story.
I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. Appreciate everybody joining us. Once again, canceltheshow.com. Pick your platform to stream on, but share the show. Share the show. Share the show. Let people know about what we're doing. Canceltheshow.com. All of our original content there. You're not going to find that anywhere else. It's right there on our site. You can go back and check out the full interview if you're joining late as well. And of course, spread the word. As Tabitha always says, spread the truth faster than they.
Spread the lies.
Oh, I like that.
We're going to have that on a t-shirt soon.
We got a lot of things on t-shirts. Man, our creative sessions there's about 1 million things that happen. Eric is one of the most creative guys ever. Eric, I'm giving you that.
She's kicking my ass lately over there. Look at her.
No.
go.
I agree. You are a very creative
Eric
person.
really is. Eric, it's our day to like compliment you and
Go
throw
on.
compliments
Go
all
on.
over.
It's Eric's day.
Oh, stop. Go
You're a
on.
sweet man. You look great in a wig.
And hey, were you at Walgreens last night?
I wasn't.
Oh, I thought for
What?
sure I saw you
In
at
a
No,
wig?
Walgreens.
that was Kevin Bacon.
I'm glad it wasn't you because I was going to sneak up behind this guy in the parking lot. Thank God I didn't do it.
Oh, we'd have another Tabitha drama.
I know
hassle
it would
story.
be amazing. Damn it.
Look just like you.
Hey, this great show continues on. Coming up at the end of our, it's probably the start of the 9 o'clock hour. Bill Brown, former member of SEAL Team 8, joining us. Want to talk about a veteran, a hero, just as we talk about Colonel Joe Adams. What this guy's doing to raise money for veterans is unmatched. As Tabitha says, he fights for freedom, whatever that means. I think I get the gist. We'll talk to him, or you won't want to miss that interview. But we got a passionate start to the show this morning. We're going to go back to that as well. What the hell's going on with Republicans in the House? Who's the next speaker going to be? Does it matter? Is everything already taken care of? Pope Benedict's funerals today as well. And I'm sorry, I'm so damn angry at Cori Bush. I'm finally letting loose on it for her ripping a successful representative in Congress, Byron Donalds, calling him a prop because he's black, successful, intelligent. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't agree with Cori, so Cori's going to rip him.
It is disrespectful.
I mean,
There's no decorum.
more needs to be brought against Cori Bush for being this. I mean, it's despicable behavior, and others who agree with Cori Bush and saying the same thing against him, and that's what's racist and prejudiced.
She's
Sad,
racist.
sad. Just because Byron Donalds is the new star on the Republican Party, happens to be a black man, has nothing to do with his color of his skin.
He could win this thing.
Who knows?
He could win this
I
thing,
like the guy.
gentlemen. He could win this thing.
We're going to take a quick break. Come back. Let's have some fun. Uncancel this. Eric Johnson, Tab of the Hassle, Big Foul, Scotty Gherkin on the boards and the music. I love this music, Scott. That gets me going. I love it. Hey guys, welcome back to Cancel This. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson, and Scotty Gherkin. CancelTheShow.com. Once again, CancelTheShow.com. We love the fact that you watch, and it doesn't matter what platform you're on, but we would really like you to follow and like us on YouTube and Rumble if you're a Facebook person, and vice versa, so that we get you on all the platforms. And when you share the show, share it. Share it on all the platforms. That's how we continue to get as big as we possibly can, bringing you the best stories that we try to do, being ahead of the game, sharing the truth faster than they spread the lies, as Tabitha likes to say.
That's right.
This media. So I've always been fascinating with broadcasting, but this medium is going to be huge. Look at me. I sound like I'm really old now, but you're going to be able to hear us in your car in the push of a button pretty soon. Yeah. I've seen the technology. XM and Sirius is coming out with this thing for podcasters, for podcasting, and basically you hit a button, you search it, and boom, you're listening to us in the radio. And that's awesome. That means terrestrial radio. We always talk about terrestrial radio, what comes over the airwaves, it being dead. I'm like, I don't know about that. A lot of people still in their cars.
I've been telling you this for a while.
But apparently there's new manufacturers coming out with these radios. They're like, fine, you can have terrestrial radio all you want, but
well, we shouldn't say it's dead. We should just say there's another option that can compete with it.
Yeah. Correct. Right. God, when I came up through the ranks, I was at this place called KGRAM, Seattle, Washington, sports talk radio, and you would have 300,000 people a day listening to your damn show. That audience is gone.
Yeah, it was the same thing with local TV.
Gone.
About as well.
Yeah,
everything's changing.
But I'm glad we're doing what we're doing, and we're glad that you guys continue to share the show. Hey, coming up at 9:00, we're going to talk with Bill Brown, former member of SEAL Team 8. You won't want to miss that interview. You want to talk about a badass who cares, who puts all of his efforts into helping veterans. It's Bill, and we can't wait to talk to him about all the things that he has going on, the state of the country. Maybe we ask him about that societal suicide that Colonel Joe Adams talks about as well. See what he feels about that, and of course, how people should stay safe or trying to stay safe in this day and age. A couple of big stories. We're going to talk about what's happening with the Idaho murders. Because that is, it's a massive story that continues to now shed new levels of what happened, what's going on, just some bizarre incidents. And of course, it has people's attention. And then, of course, what happens today. We were trying to do predictions on what happens with the Republican Speaker of the House seat. Tabitha, you said now Kevin McCarthy has gone back to the 20.
He has. He's gone back to his 20, the 20 Republicans, House members that are opposing Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. He has gone back. He's having talks with them again. He's trying to negotiate with them, and we'll see what the outcome of that is.
At this point, and I'd love to hear Tabitha's take on this. I think Vic probably feels the same as I do. But at this point, why doesn't Kevin just capitulate to everything they want? Say, fine, you want to be able to take me out with one vote. You still have to vote the whole Congress, but you want one person to be able to rise up. Okay, fine. You want what were some of the term limits? We can work on that. Do you want this? I know you probably don't trust me, but we got to get the business going here and just capitulate across the board to everything they want.
He's not going to do that.
What does he have to lose? Because he has everything to lose. He has everything to lose.
You have to remember that we talk about the Republican Party being divided, and that is because they have very different ideals of what they want to happen. And some of the things that we see right now that we don't like, open borders, all of this money going to Ukraine, all of this money in the, let's just say the omnibus bill, $1.7 trillion and all the ridiculous stuff.
We know that already.
we ta-
we know
well,
all that stuff.
Well, I know, but you told me to
I know,
explain.
but I'm trying to move on to new topics, new things. And just
Well,
at this point,
no. We have.
do you think that everybody? I guess my
You
question
just
to you.
asked me a question. I'm answering your question.
I know, but my
do
question.
I
to
not
you-
get to answer your
you
question?
do, but answer this first. Do you think that everyone in that House chamber that's a Republican, they don't feel the same about everything across the board? And I don't know.
I was trying to tell you that, but you stopped me.
Okay, well then continue where
Thank
you
you.
were.
Thank you, Eric. No, so the Republicans are divided. One half of the Republicans, or
Yes.
they want what McCarthy wants, which is what the establishment wants, which is very similar to what the Democrats want.
What's that?
Open
Explain.
borders to some
Oh,
degree.
they do.
To some degree.
That's breaking news.
Well,
That's
it's not breaking news. We've been talking about
I didn't know
this.
Republicans wanted open
We've
borders.
been not open borders to the degree that they are, but they're not going to go out on a limb to close the borders.
Why not?
Well, because most of them opposed Trump's border wall. A lot of the establishment Republicans opposed the border wall. They fought against it.
Okay, this is breaking news because I didn't know that. Now I'm on your side all of a sudden.
We talked about this yesterday. The establishment Republicans, they sign off on the omnibus bill. They sign off on funding going to Ukraine.
Only 9 of them.
Still.
Okay, but you like to dramatic.
No,
it's a dramatic. No, there's 9 of them that did it.
But okay,
That's
because of the Speaker of the House. The Speaker is such an important role, as we saw with Nancy Pelosi. So even if there's 9 of them signing off, even if there's 12 of them signing off, we have to fight that every step of the way. And these 20 Republicans who are standing up are telling Kevin McCarthy, we want closed borders. We want term limits. We want to stop the money going to Ukraine. We want to stop aiding other countries. We want America first.
If Kevin really wants open borders, then why don't a few Democrats vote for him and say, you know what?
They might. He's asking
Kevin's
Democrats to vote for him.
Kevin's better than the guys they want to bring in.
Why
don't the Democrats just vote him in?
This is what swayed Vic's opinion today.
Yeah.
Because Democrats
he was caught yesterday.
side with him.
He was caught when it became a pride issue. Because, Eric, you go in on an argument or you go all in on something and then you realize, oh man, I've given so much time, so much effort, so much emotion. But then you start to think that, oh crap, this isn't going to work out for me.
Yeah.
Most people don't just go give it. They're like, I got to invest more because I can't give up. Look at everything I've done already.
If I'm Nancy Pelosi,
She's loving. Oh, she was,
dude.
Yesterday, she was. This is why I hate what the 20 have done, because it pushes her up on a pedestal, as if what she did as House Speaker was marvelous.
Dude.
She was able to keep Democrats together. Republicans can't keep together, which is why you see a more stability with the Democratic Party than you do with the Republicans.
But that's
what I don't like.
If I was Nancy right now, if just knowing what
this all needs to be taken care of behind scenes,
just whatever Tabitha just told us, everybody. If I was Nancy Pelosi right now, I'd say we need 8 members to vote for McCarthy right now, because we could throw a monkey wrench in this entire thing, saying this is a bipartisan speaker and this guy wants open.
He's not bipartisan.
No, but
he said what he's saying.
So you would rather have a Freedom Caucus guy come in and ultimately win this thing because they just couldn't get Kevin through, or if
they're not going to get a Freedom Caucus guy in though,
or
that's
if you
just it.
Or if you get Nancy Pelosi to go in there, that Kevin is in the back pocket, according to Tabitha Hassel, of Mitch McConnell, who, by the way, was on camera yesterday with Biden at some event.
He has been many times.
So I mean,
and with Zelensky.
So think about that for a second. Nancy could go, we could screw the whole thing up and make the American people think that it's a bipartisan speaker, which would be just a kiss of death. It would be a kiss of death.
Doesn't that tell you something? That the Democrats want McCarthy in that seat? That tells me everything I need to know. And Vic, to your point, remember yesterday when I explained to you guys what happened to the Democrat Party? It's easy to say, yes, they are united and they've had put up a united front. But in the meantime, they lost their party. Under Pelosi's watch, the Democrats lost their party. Now they are the Progressive Liberal Party. They are no longer the Democrat Party. Democrats
I wouldn't go
no
that far.
longer have a home.
I wouldn't go that far.
Ask a blue dog Democrat, old school Democrat, The Democrat Party is completely changed.
Because
All
if you ask the
of-
squad, if
Hold
you
on.
ask the squad,
Hold on,
Tabitha,
hold
the
on.
squad doesn't feel as if they're getting.
I
a
don't
lot
have
of
to
what-
ask
No,
the
the squad will tell you they're not getting what they want.
I see.
They're allowed voice. The total Democratic Party has not been lost.
Yes, it has.
If it's been lost and the Republican Party's been lost, there's no difference.
Let me respond to Facebook. I am not saying anything about this is what I want, status quo. I'm not saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying
you and
from,
I never said
from
that.
a strategic point of view.
Correct.
They're never going to get Jeffries through. That is never going to happen. Sorry. Period.
And that's-
Discussion over.
That's
But
not going to happen.
but you could see not AOC, but you could see the more moderate faction of the Democrats voting for Kevin to get him through, to know that he's willing to work on these infrastructure
But he says
things.
he's not willing to work on it.
Tabitha,
That's why they're not voting for him, because he said he's not willing to work on it. He's going back.
is
he's
he willing to keep
negotiating.
the border open?
I don't know what
Is
all
he? You
of the
just now
fine
hold on.
details are.
You're my professor over here. I'm listening to you intently.
If you
I'm
wanna-
trying to analyze this via what you say.
well,
So
I'm
which one is
trying-
it? Does he
I'm
want the border
trying
open
to
or
tell
not?
you.
Does he want the border open or not?
I don't know what was specifically what he wants. All I know is these 20 Republicans that stood up said, we proposed strict border security. We proposed term limits. We proposed all of these different things that we as Americans want. And I think the majority of Americans do want these things. And he said no.
So this works two ways. The Democrats can't get Jeffries through. The Republicans can't get McCarthy through.
Not yet.
So
he's
the
the
only
second
option,
best
so the
to
option,
Democrats.
so the only option for the entire House is to bring in someone who's more conservative than McCarthy. So why don't the Democrats just vote for him? Right? That is the thing that's
Can
keeps
I
going in
can
my
I
mind right
can
now.
I blow your mind too?
Go
Eric,
ahead.
on something else.
Sure.
Jeffries, who you speak of, this is awesome. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
Jeffries was also a Democrat who questioned the election.
Oh,
What-
but
God.
not for Donald Trump, though.
No, exactly.
No, but many elections prior, I'm sure
But
that
wondering-
Stacey Abrams was a no.
but
That can't be right.
wondering if
Yeah.
the elections were actually legit.
Back
like if
when
voting
Trump won,
won,
he questioned the election. He was an election denier back then.
Yeah.
that blows my mind.
It doesn't blow my mind because he probably knows, like the rest of us do, that elections are fraud.
But you
Although
don't
he was
get
on
that-
the wrong side of it.
Yes, but you don't get it mainstream.
Typically,
But he did say that there was an
No.
issue with voting.
So what you're saying, Tabitha, to break down, is that Kevin McCarthy pretty much ideologically thinks the same things as the Freedom
he's
Caucus.
a rhino. No, he doesn't. No, he's the opposite of the Freedom Caucus. The opposite of the Freedom Caucus.
So he's the opposite of the Freedom
These 20
Caucus.
folks standing up are members. Some of them are members of the Freedom Caucus. He's the opposite. He's establishment.
So if the Democrats
are
came in,
anti-establishment.
and said, "We'll vote for you, but you're not going to do a committee on Hunter Biden. You're not going to do this
that
in the
could
Rules
happen.
Committee.
That could.
You're not going to do term
It
limits.
could happen.
And by 12 o'clock today, we'll vote for you."
It could legitimately happen. But
That's now my mind's blown. There you
before
go.
we get too far, I want to backtrack because I didn't get to finish what I was talking about with this
Okay.
in regards to the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
Because Vic, you said the Democrat Party has not been lost. But let me remind everyone.
No more than the Republican Party's been lost. Tabitha.
Okay, well, the Republican Party, it's always, for the most part, been establishment. The GOP has always been establishment. We are trying our hardest to get folks like these Freedom Caucus House members into these bigger positions
Yeah.
so they can actually be America first. Trump changed things. Before Trump, it was all
I'm
establishment.
going to go back to this.
Well, Jay Saunders says, Tabitha, if you think the 20 are all about the people, you're fooling yourself.
Well, that's what you can say, but that's how I feel.
I'm going to go
Yeah,
back.
And
to
if,
this.
and if you have
I'm going to go back to
before
this tab.
before you do, can I talk about Democrats for 1 second?
Oh, please.
Because
My favorite topic.
when you were talking about Democrats, Vic, about their party not changing, I want everyone to remember
I
where
didn't
we
say
are
it's not changing.
as a country about their party being lost. Because right
Our
now,
party's no more lost than the Republican Party.
in schools across this country, we have little boys, big boys, going into girls' bathrooms, going into girls' locker rooms, playing on girls' sports. And if a school does not allow boys, some of these being 18 years old, going into school locker rooms, going into school bathrooms, they lose their Title IX funding. We have so many ridiculous far left liberal policies taking hold in this country. And that would have never happened under the old school Democrats.
That's
never
one
would that have
example. But
happened.
there's
Let's see,
also
guys.
things
Many
from
examples.
both parties, Tabitha, where you have to. This is what politics has become. You don't like it, but it's a reality, and you have to deal with it. Here's the problem:
What has
you have both
Republicans
parties
done?
having to accept things
Okay.
that you don't like because, once again, there are two parties. There's things that you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I tell you this all the time. There are things you like. There are things you don't like. There are things you like with your party. There's things you don't like with your party. But it's all part of the freaking game that's put there. The rules have been put in place.
I'm going to go back one more time. This is day 2 of class. The Democrats in the last election cycle, basically, there was the same thing. The squad was no different than the Freedom Caucus. No different. Everybody.
Why do you?
Hold on. Let me
I don't understand.
turn her mic off because I got to keep my thoughts straight
Keep it
because
going.
my OCD will go crazy. Here's the deal. The Freedom Caucus or the squad went in there, and everyone else in that room was blue dog Democrats from Ohio and Illinois and Michigan and whatever. And all of a sudden, these very radical people come in with radical policies. AOC wants to shut down the cops, and they want to bring in all the people across the border, blah, blah, blah. Nancy Pelosi is an elitist Democrat. That's what she was. She didn't want to do these dumbass policies, but that's what pushed the Democrats. That was the energy. That was the battery underneath them. That was the base.
She didn't have a choice.
That was the base, the ones that wanted to vote for everything. They were the Bernie Sanders supporters, blah, blah, blah. If Kevin McCarthy gets through, the people pushing underneath him will not be the moderate Republicans. It will be the Freedom Caucus members who are pushing through their agendas.
No,
And
that's wrong.
And Kevin will capitulate
That's
one way or
wrong.
another because it will be in the media. And
That's
on
wrong.
top of that, those are the people that will get out and vote in the next election, and they know it.
Okay, but that's wrong.
know it.
That's all wrong.
How do you think it's all wrong?
Because that's what this is all about. Is that he says he will not. He
So
will
you
not
think that he's not
cater to these people?
he
He will
has-
not cater to these.
What do you mean he
people.
won't cater?
He
will
will not
cater to
do
every
it.
member in the damn chamber.
No, he won't. He's going to. He's a McConnell guy. He's a Paul Ryan guy. He's an establishment guy. He is going to follow establishment policies. Establishment policies are not America first policies. Establishment policies are politician first policies.
Well,
they're
he
not
showed
about
me,
America.
He showed me his pride yesterday, Eric, and I can't imagine this guy's going to forget the embarrassment he has felt at the hands
If what you said is true, Vic, if there is a open
this guy
mic,
has been
so there was an open
embarrassed.
mic that said,
Yeah,
what happened?
Their word got back out that he was looking for the possibility of Democratic support to make this happen.
That's a death nail.
Hell yeah, it is.
I didn't hear it and I haven't heard it. So
that's
but
why
if
that's
that
why I
did,
was
it's a
like,
death
done.
nail.
I'm done.
That's a death nail.
The other part of that, he's not going to forget what the 20 have done. He has been absolutely embarrassed. The first person in over 100 years to not be voted in. And then 5 times. 5 times. He's an embarrassment. The Republican Party's an embarrassment right now. And now they're trying to lick their wounds and see what can happen. And for those people who do watch any sort of national media, they'll see what an embarrassment the Republican Party is.
And I hear what you're
right
saying,
now.
and I'm going to go to Tabitha's side for a second. Yes, they are an embarrassment. This is embarrassing.
I
But-
don't think it's embarrassing at all. I am so proud of
Well,
these
I'm talking to
20
Vic.
people. So proud.
Tabitha
of them.
would rather have chaos, and that's
It's
fine.
not chaos. It's called
chaos.
standing
I'm
up
gonna
for
go
your
to-
country.
I'm on your
freedom,
side for a second.
Freedom isn't easy,
Hold
and it's
on.
not comfortable.
They're the same thing, Tabitha. Chaos and standing up a lot of times are linked.
It can be. Yes.
So I say it like
This is definitely,
if
we've never seen this before.
If me looking at this as a political observer think this is embarrassing, or anyone that's watching that's not into politics says this is embarrassing, there is something that a lot of people have been saying, not for 10 years, but more like 40 years, that the system is busted. And now it's about time that
in
someone
a good way.
Now it's about time someone did something about it. If you can take anything away from it that's not embarrassing, maybe it is the Republicans going, you guys have been telling us that Washington's broke and we're trying to fix it now.
Correct.
Maybe that's the only takeaway from all of this.
the only-
Washington is broke, and these people are heroes. They're heroes because freedom, Eric, it's not easy. It's not comfortable. And Vic, to your point, yes, you are right. And I'm sorry, it is chaos sometimes. And we have to go through this uncomfortable stage. Maybe we have to blow the party completely apart. And had the Democrats did that, maybe they would be holding on to their spot right now instead of catering to the Bernie Sanders people. And the only reason why the Democrat Party is catering to the Bernie Sanders people. She's not a socialist. She had to cater to those people, because if she didn't cater to those people, if they didn't agree to what the narratives those Bernie Sanders supporters wanted, Joe Biden would have never won, because Bernie Sanders supporters, they're the ones who went to the poll locations. They're the ones who cheated. They're the ones on 2000 Mules putting all the ballots in the ballot boxes. And they have said publicly, we cheated. We won this election for you. You have to follow our narratives. That's what happened. That's why the Democrat lost their party. We have to change things on the Republican Party. We know what America First is like now, and we have to hold on to that.
The issue that we have with this Republican situation is if they can come together out of this, then it's not embarrassing. My issue is
I don't
there's
find it
no
to be embarrassing.
my issue is the reason why it's embarrassing is because there's a rift. And if you can't get past the rift, then that crack stays there. And I don't see how anytime soon that rift gets repaired. Now, I know each day can bring a new possibility of hope.
Does it matter to you that there's a rift?
Girl, you never let me
I'm
finish.
sorry.
You have to, and if they can replace the window with the cracks in it with a brand new one, fantastic. But it's not going to happen anytime soon. And the fact that Democrats can rally independents right now. Look, the Republicans are a party that is, they're a mess. They can't even figure out, they can't even elect their own damn speaker because they got 20 renegades out there running roughshod over everybody else saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. I hate seeing any of that. And Nancy Pelosi being put up as if she was the best speaker of the House we've ever had, because in the midst of certain factions wanting their side heard, like the AOCs and the squad, she still managed to keep everybody in line. And she held that position for a long time. And guess what? The Republicans are doing this, and there's no guarantee that after the next election that they'll even have power in the House to do what they're doing. And then you just have another party that's all over the place because we've got, and who's to say there's not going to be another 20 that want this and another 20 that want that. And then you have even more splinters in the faction.
You're seeing this.
Tear it all apart.
You're seeing the seedling of
and then the Democrats just continue the power.
You're seeing the seedling
Not
of
true.
what the Cory Bushes are of the world. You see Cory Bush latching on to the AOCs. You're seeing the seedlings of the Republican Party doing the same thing. You're seeing this very loud, outspoken, young group of conservatives that have had enough of this woke culture, and they are really the ones that are energized. So they get a chance now. They were on in the batter's circle. Now they're at the plate. This is what they're doing to rectify themselves. That's their voice now. The old generation of Republicans is on its way out. Not in the Senate so much, but definitely in the House of Representatives. So you got to let them go through their paces right now. And these people do not trust Kevin McCarthy for whatever reason. They just don't think that he's going to bring the high heat to the table. So you got to let them go through their paces. But at a certain point, it's a balancing act. And they got to start to think, if you capitulate everything we want, then you got to vote for him.
But we're winning, Eric.
All of us
We're
on
winning.
this show want the same thing.
And that's why I asked Tabitha, if they were to all go to Denny's and talk about the things that they wanted as a Republican Party, would Kevin McCarthy not want the exact same things? And Tabitha
He doesn't want the same
Tabitha told me
things.
10 minutes ago, no, he wants open borders. I'm like, what?
So
that's
he
news to
doesn't
me.
He does not want to agree to the border proposal that they sent through. And I looked at the border proposal last night. They want to bring back Trump era border security. And he said, no, he will not agree to that.
And why?
You'll have to ask Kevin McCarthy. I don't know why.
Well, then those are the questions while they take these
Exactly.
24-hour hiatuses. Say, Kevin, we would like you to come on Fox News and explain yourself.
I love being called. I just like that. Waffle House is better. I agree. McCarthy is like a wet blanket. You two, us, Eric, are rhinos. You'd rather keep things status.
That's not true at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I would love to blow the whole system up, to be honest
Eric,
with you, and
we're
start
winning.
over. But at the same time, you can't do that.
We're not winning.
Yes, we are.
I wish we were winning.
Vic, we are winning. We are winning. It's slow and it's a small process, but we are winning because you know what? If these 20 folks succeed, that is a huge battle won for
Well, I remember
us,
the Tea Party
for
once,
America
and everybody
first.
thought the Tea Party
These
was
people
winning,
are the Tea Party.
and then they disappeared.
They didn't
for a
disappear.
long. Yeah,
They're in the
did.
Freedom Caucus now.
No, they're.
Yes, they are. The Tea
It's
Party.
not the exact same.
No, it is.
thing.
It's the same people. It's
Okay.
the people that were in the Tea
The
Party.
Tea Party went away,
They didn't go away.
and then they had to have a new name, and that's why they gave themselves a new name.
The Tea Party. Some of the members of the Tea Party
A couple.
are in the Freedom Caucus.
You make these big generalizations with a couple people. It's not the exact same thing.
No, but the Freedom Caucus is made up of a lot of different types of people, but they all have one common goal, and
Well-
that is
well, yeah, we can-
America first.
We can philosophize anything that we want to
but
mean
the Tea
what
Party
we
didn't go
want
away.
to try to make it.
They're still out there.
It's not the same, Tabitha.
Well, they evolved just like other groups,
And they
evolve.
disappeared for a long
Yeah.
time. They didn't have the power, the fight, the will that we thought they would have had at the time. They disappeared. They made a version
the
of
media
them.
made them disappear.
Whatever. They disappeared. It's a fact. Now they may be coming back in 20 of them in this status, which is, hey, if it changes things, great.
Yeah.
Right now,
Let's hope
it's
and
not
pray
good.
it does. Let's
yeah,
hope and
right
pray
now
it
it does not
does.
look good.
Because we have to put everything we have into these 20 folks winning this battle. Because if we don't, our country's already lost. And we're in a point right now of no return. We have to start taking battles and victories where we can get them. And these people are standing up for us. They're standing up for border security, for term limits, for against these omnibus bills. All the things that we shout about every day that we want and need.
I have to believe. You want me to believe what you say, right? That I should?
I hope that you believe that these 20 people are winning a battle.
Okay. Well, you want me to believe what you say about what's happening in Washington, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, that's
Well
up to
then,
you. You're
well then
your only
I'm going
person.
to believe that who you think is doing a really good job in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm going to believe her that Kevin McCarthy is the right choice.
Well, then that's up to you.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
following what you say.
Yeah, but you
What,
also
that's like
so
a
let me ask
silly,
you
ridiculous
this.
point.
You think she's doing a
You-
good job?
Why are you attacking me
We're not.
over? Yeah,
Well,
you
we're
are. Vic
asking.
is.
We're
I'm not,
asking.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
trying
you
to-
are.
asking.
It's
Because
not
you
attack-
keep
I'm
bringing
sorry.
that
I'm
up
not-
just to be a jerk.
No, what
No,
about
no,
Trump?
I'm
Trump.
not
If
at
you don't
all.
like Margie Taylor Greene, what about Trump?
Not
at all.
I feel the same way about
Politic-
Trump as I do about Margie Taylor Greene.
Politics is a
I
game
like
of
them
endorsements.
both, but it
This-
doesn't mean I agree with every decision
Yeah,
they make.
Exactly. That's my point. That wasn't an attack at all. That's my point. What Eric said. It's because it's a game, and at the end of the day, the 20, Tabitha, whether they get, you still have to work together within the game that's still there.
Of course they do. But you know what? They're fighting hard for what they want, that they think is best for this country. We sit around here on this show, other shows we've been on, and we all agree. I know we are all on the same page. We are all
Yes.
on the same team. No, and I don't want anyone listening to think
We give
we're
each
not.
other high fives after the show.
We are definitely
bumps.
all on the same
Yeah.
team. We
Shot,
all want
shot,
the same
shot,
things
shot.
for this country. No question about it. But we sit around, and Eric, you're always talking about backlash. This is what backlash is. That's why I said, you know what, everything you said, Eric, is absolutely correct. You wanted backlash. This is backlash. Yesterday, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, she said, did you hear what she said? I thought this is a win for Eric because she said, everybody's leaving New York. How do we stop them?
Bingo.
That's right, but that's on a individual purpose, and the thing about the game of politics
And
is
she's not some hardcore
the
Republican.
thing about politics is imagine this. Let's say Tom Brady and Gronkowski, they just got in a rift. Gronkowski wanted to do 5 and outs, and this is a football analogy, and Tom Brady wanted to do fly patterns all day long, and they could never get it together. That's the point. It's not that they're not a great team together. It's just that they can't ideologically figure out how to run the plays right, and they keep fighting. My question is, it seems like that the Republicans are ideologically on the same side, say if they go to a Denny's, but for some reason, this is more of a personality conflict that's going on. I don't personally trust this guy.
It's not a personality
I
conflict.
agree with you, but Tabitha says that McCarthy's actually playing for the team that's playing against the Patriots.
That's worse.
Oh, well,
now
McCarthy says it, not
now
me.
on the other hand, if Tom Brady was caught talking to the other coach saying, I'm going to throw it to your defensive guys, then there's a problem. And that's kind of what we heard.
Tabitha says McCarthy. Yeah, exactly.
So
McCarthy, in my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of other folks, including these 20 Republicans, they say, Eric, we'll work with you, Kevin McCarthy, if you can agree to these America First policies. And he's saying, no, I'm not going to do that. But you know what? If he
well,
wants
then he
to
needs
win,
to be on the record immediately.
Yeah, and
He-
that's
it
why
is.
I'm
Immediately.
and
It
that's why I
is.
bring up Green, because I'm torn, because if she's a person that so many people respect and look up to, but she is still backing Kevin McCarthy, then it shows you that even after the day after the 20 yell, you all still have to come together and you still have to work together. And it shows that you have to play the game. We don't like it, but you have to play the game. And even Marjorie Taylor Greene, as outspoken as she has been, understands you have to play the game. And you would think that she'd be leading the group of 20. Instead, she's opposing the group of 20.
And a lot of people were confused by her position, as am I. She's a good friend of Matt Gaetz.
Yes,
they usually side together.
Because you have to play the game.
But we don't have to play the game. That's the problem, Vic, is that we've played the game
Then
too
why is
long.
she playing the game?
You'll have to ask her. I don't know her.
No, Tabitha, you
know
do
her.
have to play the game because, like we just talked about on the show,
No, playing the game has got us to where we're at now.
playing
I'm done
not playing
the
not
game.
playing the game has Kevin going in and talking to Democrats saying, "I need 12 votes, guys. What can I
That's
do for you?"
because he's a traitor.
That's the game.
He's a traitor.
No, that's not because he's a traitor.
If he's talking to Democrats, saying Democrats, I'll make a deal with you.
What's his options?
Before I make a deal with these other Republicans,
What's his options?
that's a traitor.
What's his options?
His options are to agree that, yes, you're right, we need to secure our border. Yes, you're right, we need term limits.
Who says he doesn't say that?
He
though?
says it. He says it, Eric, not me. He says it.
He says that. Here's the issue. I think, just an opinion, he wants to do things on his own terms. He doesn't want 20 yappy dogs biting at his ankles, telling him what he's going to do because it makes him look bad. Now, a lot of things in life get down to ego and pride. Kevin McCarthy's history, Tabitha, doesn't show us that he's going to be some liberal House Speaker if he was the Speaker. I think we could agree on that.
I don't know. I don't think he's a
Marjorie Taylor
liberal by
Greene's
any
even a
means.
big, yeah, he has not shown us. However, when the 20 came to him demanding what they wanted, and by the way, if you're a conservative, a true conservative, what they have said, it's not outrageous. It's not. It made sense to me. What we've talked about, term limits and border leading.
They want what we want.
It makes sense
They're
what they
refusing
want
to play the game.
However, when it's dictated to you and you feel as if you've spent your time in Congress, you have been a guy that's been around, I think a bit of ego, pride gets in the mix where he's like, wait a second.
I'm sure you're right.
I'm gonna dictate. I paid the price. I saw this in my local anchoring news. I worked with somebody who was pissed off daily because they weren't treated like somebody who was an icon before them in the St. Louis area. And they made it known I should be treated like they were treated because I had to take a back seat. I paid my dues. Now it's my turn to be treated like the queen or the king, whatever.
Some of these folks, some of these 20 people have been there a long time too.
And Kevin McCarthy has been a long time guy, as you say, establishment, because he's been there a long time. I feel as if he just wanted more respect. And then when he's told, then he sees people like Boebert and Gaetz, younger, very passionate, loud, in your face, going to the media type of people that they're trying to say Washington's changed and he doesn't want to accept it.
Can I throw something in there?
I'm done.
Is that I believe, now this is only my opinion, I believe that McCarthy is holding the line for the establishment, for the GOP establishment. He's holding the line. And let's not forget that the establishment Republicans came to the anti-establishment Republicans because they all know who each other are.
Mhm.
And they said, you will vote for Kevin McCarthy. You will vote for him. You will not nominate anyone else. This is all on record, Eric. It's been stated. They told them, you will vote for Kevin McCarthy and we will stay here day after day until you vote for Kevin McCarthy. That they should have never done that. That's the establishment trying to play the game, trying to tell these people they need to play the game. And that's why I am so happy that these people stood up. They say they're not playing the game.
Okay.
The game's over. And we're making
It's not.
we're making small victories.
Game's not over.
The game will never be over.
Because they got 200 votes to make up.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, I didn't know that. How does it work?
It doesn't work that way. If only four Republicans refuse to vote for McCarthy, they have to go back to another vote. But that also means that if McCarthy gets 4 Democrats to vote for him, he wins.
And you also had yesterday a Republican who then decided to vote present, which showed that I'm out of this now. I am out.
Yeah.
I am out of voting for McCarthy. The other situation that you have with all of this is the fact that Tabitha, Eric, Scott, listeners, viewers, once they do figure this out, whoever it is, are you really going to be changing things? Are our lives really going to be changing? Is this country really going to be changing
Yes.
with the Democrats having the White House and the Democrats having the Senate?
I think there's a
Yes.
case to be made that they could not fund the 87,000 IRS agents. I think there's
Maybe.
a case to be
Maybe.
made. There's a case to be made about every piece of Democratic legislation coming from the Senate would be blocked. I think there's a case to be made that Joe Biden would have to do a few things that would be a little bit more bipartisan. So I think the answer is definitely yes.
And then the reason I bring up the question is, will they be on the same team then?
do you
Republicans
not
afterwards.
burn so many bridges that right?
That's what
that
I'm
you have to
concerned
go
about.
12 months just to put
Because if
band-aids on the
McCarthy,
wounds.
this is why McCarthy, if he is, that he will never forget what happened. He'll go down in history as being a loser over this.
Yes, he will. He did not look happy yesterday. But think about how much power the speaker has. And if you put the right person
Ask Nancy
in
Pelosi.
that's exactly right. You put the right person in this speaker role, everything changes. Everything has the opportunity to change. Maybe we'll remove all of these ridiculous rules that the schools have, right? Maybe we'll fund police.
Here's a question
Maybe we'll
for
stop
you.
sending money to Ukraine.
This is a possibility that's been floated. You do not need to have a member of the House of Representatives as your speaker. There has been this floated around. I've heard it on a couple of weird news sources, but they could get someone from the outside who is a consensus person that's not so Democrat, that's not so Republican.
That's Steve Scalise.
It could be Scalise, but it could also be a someone that you could get 50 Democrats to vote for and maybe 190 Republicans to vote for to be the new Speaker of the House from outside of the chamber. That could also be something that happened. And in this weird world that we live in, I could totally see something like that happen. Tulsi Gabbard, I have no idea who it would be, but it's definitely.
You're going to get Tabitha's blood boiling if you say Tulsi Gabbard.
She is not a conservative. She's
Yeah,
not a
but
conservative.
she's
She's not going to vote
ex-Democrat.
She's not going to vote for a Republican president. She is still a Democrat.
I do think it. I think the most.
She lost her party.
I think the biggest chess move that the Democrats have right now. Now, if you're a Democrat, listen to me and try to get this to your representative. I think that voting for McCarthy would be a kiss of death. It'd be that kind of thing where they kiss you on the cheek and then 24 hours you die, kind of a thing.
Wouldn't that be
If the
interesting?
Democrats were the ones that put Kevin over the top, it would not be bipartisan. It would be the biggest bitch slap in the history of politics.
I don't think that will happen. I really don't. I think he's going to be forced to step aside, or he's going to keep negotiating like he is and eventually agree to their terms because his pride and ego may win.
Bingo. And we got to get out of here. We got to take a quick break just because we need to reset. We have got Bill Brown coming on, former member, SEAL Team 6.
8.
SEAL Team 8, once a SEAL, always a SEAL. He's doing some major things for veterans right now, putting his actions where his heart is, putting his efforts there. You won't want to miss him. We'll talk about his fight for freedom, what he does with this country, where he thinks we're headed.
That's right.
Always love talking to men like this who are total badasses. When we come back, Bill Brown, don't go anywhere. Share the show. Go to canceltheshow.com. You got all your platforms to stream on. Like us, subscribe, follow on all the platforms you possibly can. It helps us. Share the show as well. If you have questions while we're interviewing Bill, let us know as well. We'll do our best to look at the comments and ask him, but we'll be back with more. Cancel This right after this. It'll be a quicker break because he's coming in about 2-3 minutes. Back with more Cancel This right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to Cancel This. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson, and Scott Gherkin. Thanks again. We see everybody sharing the show on all of the platforms. Of course, you can go to canceltheshow.com. Check out the many platforms that we have. You can watch us live, of course, on those platforms. And also, as you know, we edit it down and put it to the audio platforms as well. You guys make the show happen. That's why we do what we do, trying to stay one step ahead, sharing the truth, as Tabitha says, faster than they spread the lies. We bring you some of the best guests that we can as well, and that includes our next guy. Very excited to have Bill Brown on, former member of SEAL Team 8. He's an attorney out of New Jersey, 3 tours in Iraq. Yeah, couldn't do a 4th one, huh? My God. 3 whole days. Dear Lord, my gosh, what happened? But out of everything that he does, what he does for veterans is unmatched when you don't forget where you came from, and then a total badass at the same point in time. I'm glad Tabitha set you up with us today. Bill, welcome to Cancel This for the first time. Happy Thursday. Thank you for taking some time today.
Hey, Vic, Tabitha, Eric, it's a pleasure and honor to be on here. I got to clear the floor real quick. I did 3 deployments. My last one was in Iraq. So, you know, valor is very important in my community, very important to me. So I don't want to overstate my resume.
We will.
Yeah. And correct. And I want to learn this because I know you're not a former Marine. You're always a Marine.
Navy.
And no, let me finish.
Okay.
No, like when you talk about a service. So when you're in a SEAL team, do you still consider yourself to be a SEAL? Because I said you're a former member of SEAL Team 8.
You know, that's a great question. You know, when I was getting my SEAL tacked on, they're punching it in. One of the things they told me is they pointed to where, you know, they tacked it in, and they said, you know, that's just a symbol. And then they said, your heart, that's what it's really about, and your character and your disposition. So I saw a cartoon once, and it was an old guy, and it had like the little think bubble, and he was picturing himself as a young soldier. So, and I know when I go to a lot of to visit my family, you know, when I look at the tombstones and stuff, all the veterans, it's still, you know, it's proudly displayed. So I think for all of us who put it out there, I think it's always a part of us.
So true. And thank you for your service time and time again. When we all watched the debacle of our services coming out of Afghanistan, for sure. I'm sure you had a lot of emotion about that, the way that we were ripped out. But I've always wondered, I'm sure we've kept some service over there. What are we doing in these left behind wars, Iraq and Afghanistan? What are our special forces doing over there right now? Or are they even doing anything at all? Have we moved on from that theater and moved to other places?
Well, you know, one of the things I learned in the SEAL teams, and one of the things I definitely learned in law school is, you know, don't give answers that you really don't know.
Right.
So I can't tell you exactly what's going on. I know the intended purpose was, look, 9/11. I'm here right outside of New York City, on the other side of the river. It shook everybody up. I've dealt with real jihadists. And that's an ideology that's not going away. And so I think one of the benefits we have on our side now is technology. I think we have a lot of agencies that have a really good ability to monitor a lot of the traffic and a lot of the, you know, the way the global banking systems work. I think we have a lot of where it's easier for us to get signals of, hey, something's happening here. And I think because of the advancements in technology, it also helps us to have a decreased footprint in some of those places where when you have a large American footprint, it's just going to build, you know, tension. So I do think one of the things that happened in Afghanistan was a disgrace. I think we left a lot of good people behind. You know, these are guys, interpreters, and people who fought alongside American troops that definitely put their themselves on the line and their family on the line. And we think about the values that we hold dear, you know, and freedom of speech, and, you know, the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Well, it's absolutely not happening there in Afghanistan. And if, you know, if you're a woman God bless you. I feel sorry for the way you live. And so, yeah, definitely, I had some friends that were definitely involved in trying to get some good people out of there when our government kind of definitely took an objective public stance where they seemed to be sitting on their hands. But there were agencies and people doing good stuff in the background.
Hey, Bill, do you feel that the military has changed since your time? I believe, did you retire in 2005? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Tapas at the end of 2005.
Do you
Yep.
feel since that time, we're hearing about the different branches having such a hard time recruiting people, about all of these woke policies in the military, and I'm just curious what your views are.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that happen is it's not just in the military. You can see it playing out in leadership in law enforcement and our different
Yes.
federal agencies, where it starts the grooming process for leadership comes out of these Ivy League schools. And that's a big problem there because that's a straight political indoctrination type of process where, there's a lot of intimidation and coercion if you speak out against the protocol there. And so, the leadership is picked from these grooming grounds that are very astute, very connected, but very far left. And so that's what's happened in the different agencies, and it's happened in the military, even at our academies. And I think when you have individuals that are given leadership positions and they rose through the ranks, not because of their skill or their merit or their ability to lead men in combat or women in combat, but because they're political hacks, you're going to have situations where we're gonna give up the Air Force Base and basically make a choke point for anybody trying to get out of there in Afghanistan. So absolutely, the military's changed. As far as I have friends that have actually send me pictures of some of these PowerPoint briefs that they have to endure. And I understand and I think most people in our country and our society are good, reasonable people. I think most of us don't care what consenting adults do, or if
Right.
you want to call yourself this or that. I could really care less. And I think most guys and gals in the military are the same way. But what happens now is if you're not the biggest cheerleader for some of those that political ideology, guess what? It's just like what's happening in the corporate and legal world. You're swimming against the tide. And so I think the majority of men and women in the military are there for good causes. They want to serve our country. They love our freedoms, individual liberties, and I think a lot of people see what's happening, and that's one of the things I'm really glad about. Guys and gals like you and shows like yours, because it really is grassroots. And I think one of the things we need to do is, I think when reasonable people kind of see what's going on, I think that the big thing we need to do is we need to hold the moral high ground. One of the things I think that Martin Luther King did very well is he held the moral high ground. And I look at some of the one of the things I learned from President Trump is I learned we absolutely have to fight back 100%. But one of the things I think that he made himself an easy target, and for others to kind of distract from some of the things he was raising, was sometimes he put his foot in his mouth. Now we all do. But I look at one of the things, like, remember that teenager in DC, Nick Sandman?
Yes.
They
Yeah.
tried to paint him as a racist, but
Yes.
he held them.
They
more
tried to
high.
cancel him, is what they did, Bill.
Oh yeah, and when they say cancel, the word cancel, I don't think it does it justice of really what's happening. The word is complete discrimination. Like, they're completely trying to destroy your life, your ability to get a job, your ability to feed your family, your ability to express yourself. And that's what they did to that teenager, but they did it for him for a reason. It wasn't because it just, who he was. Is they wanted to send a signal out there
Yes.
that, look, if you're going to express yourself politically by wearing certain attire like the MAGA hat, this is what could happen to you. It's a huge deterrence, right? And it stifles freedom of expression. Actually, he's not alone. Like, they there's a look what they did to Kavanaugh during the
Yeah.
confirmation hearings.
Right.
Now think of all the great legal minds. Think of all these great individuals who went through these liberal law schools, managed to excel in their legal career. And you think that the treatment that he received is a deterrence from other great conservative thinkers and legal minds? Absolutely. And that's why they put him through hell. They
Right.
tried to slander his name. They tried to destroy him, but not just him as a person, but to deter others.
That
And that's,
intimidation.
Yeah. Amy
it
Coney
was-
Barrett's another example. I mean, just with all the religious stuff. And, have you had a chance, and you can be part of this discussion if you have you had a chance to kind of watch what's going on in the House of Representatives right now, and the debate going on between electing McCarthy as the speaker? Have you had a chance to watch any of that?
Yeah, I did. And to be honest with you, I did a little RNS on your show and got a little bit of feedback on that. Here's my take on that. My take on that is, look, they're trying to leverage some new young upstarts out of positions, and now they're using the confirmation process as say, hey, look, you better treat us better, or just this is going to be a mess. And I think look, one of the mistakes that has been made by Mitch McConnell is, instead of thinking about the long-term run, he's a short-term thinker. As far as he's concerned strictly about his short-term influence, and that way, if others don't kiss his ring or bend the knee, they're not going to be financially supported. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of being played out here in the House, where, look, I think in the end, he's going to win, but look, there's issues. A lot of, like, one of the mistakes I think that the Republican Party makes is when they get power, they don't know how to utilize it. Where it's totally different, I think, on the other side.
Right.
Like I think one of the big hangups now is whether they're going to, have some type of committees that investigate the FBI or COVID and things like that. Or, what? How about the election? How about we get some serious investigations from the House on the election? Because a lot of reasonable people have serious questions about electoral process. And I think different individuals are fighting for different pieces of the pie over there, but I think they're all missing the mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of issues they really need to address. Like they need to address COVID. They need to address what the infringement on you had to literally put a mask on your face if you wanted to work or travel. You had to get vaccinated, or basically you didn't have a job. How many different businesses got straight shut down?
Yeah.
And then let's talk about investigating big tech, because Elon Musk just put a spotlight on that. And we know without a doubt now that basically federal authorities are basically a strong arm of one political party. And we're doing a couple things. They're in joint action with, social media companies to suppress stories that during the time of the election that would absolutely have an effect. And not only that, suppressing stories of questions regarding COVID, regarding the electoral process. I mean, we want to talk about intimidation. You got the head of the FBI labeling parents who have issues with liberal policies being pushed at sexualizing kids.
Yeah.
And deterring them by calling them domestic terrorists. Like, that's out of control. Like, these are investigations that need to happen, because the truth is, these social media companies were basically an extended arm of the Democratic Party. They received huge legal protections. We can't even begin to realize how many state subsidiaries they received, because all the different confidentiality orders that are out there. There's all types of tax breaks. It's legal protections. They're a huge problem, because the truth is, I recently got shadow banned on LinkedIn. I got over 22K followers. I posted a video about my swim on New Year's, and I got 3 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that was
it happens, Bill. We're talking with Bill Brown, member of SEAL Team 8, deployments that he talked about in Iraq, an attorney now. We really wanted to get your opinion on some of these political issues that we're starting to get. You just brought up what we really had you on the show for. This blew my freaking mind. You got shadow banned on LinkedIn. Tell everybody what you're doing for your swim, because there's nothing better than a veteran like yourself sticking up, standing up, and letting people know about the fight that veterans have and doing something about it, because what you have been able to do, it is next to none in this swim. Tell us about what you're doing, how people can get involved, and how it all came about, and freaking getting banned because of your swim.
Well, I don't know if I was banned because of the swim. I think I was banned for some of my previous comments that basically speaking out against some of the policies, and for whatever reason, the ban was enforced during that post. Now, one of the things I believe in, and that swim came together because a lot of beautiful people came out and helped and came together and helped me. A lot of my brothers. But I kind of call it adventure therapy, especially guys who put in some work in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was a SEAL on 9/11. A lot of my brothers were as well. So one of the things we did is, we believe in our nation's freedoms and civil liberties. And when you've been to an honest, Donald Trump wasn't lying. There's a lot of shitholes out there. I'm telling you God's honest truth. There's places I wouldn't want to go to unless I had a bunch of my buddies with me, with guns, and we had air support.
St. Louis, Missouri comes to mind. Downtown St. Louis after a baseball game. Is that what you're talking about? No, never mind. I got you.
No, but you brought up a good point. You think about during COVID, you think about all the riots and how they defund the police movement, and almost every major city in our country could be at risk, seriously. So one of the things about this swim is we swim from New Jersey to Statue of Liberty. At the Statue of Liberty, do 100 push-ups, 22 pull-ups to honor our nation's freedoms and civil liberties. Then we get back in the water. We swim to Ellis Island. We get out of the water at Ellis Island. We do 100 push-ups, 22 pull-ups to honor all the men and women who came to our country for a better life, celebrate our nation's diversity. Get back in the water. Then we swim to South Cove Marina in Lower Manhattan. We change out. We grab a bunch of American flags. We run to Ground Zero at the first responder statue. There we do 100 push-ups and 22 pull-ups to honor all those who put it on the line for our country and lost their lives on 9/11 and Extortion 17, because we always try to have it as close to the anniversary of Extortion 17 as I can. So it's a great event because one, when you're a SEAL or you've been in a war and you've been in a combat unit, it's always going to be a part of you, and that whole community is always going to have a real strong gravity. And when we're together doing good stuff, it makes us feel good, and I call it adventure therapy. And you talked about a lot of stuff happening with veterans and the high suicide rate. Well, one of the reasons why is because how big media has stigmatized veterans.
Yes.
And they did to our brothers in Vietnam. They're doing it to law enforcement with the whole defund movement. All of us, you want to be proud of yourself. You want to be proud of your uniform. And all of a sudden, you're deemed as anti-social, like not a positive part of society. Here you are, you put it on the line for your country, risk your life. God knows all the things, and you coming back and you got people hating on you. So guess what? It fucks people up, man. And so here we are, kind of looking out for each other, kicking ass. And that's my whole thing. I want to show veterans kicking ass and doing good things. So it's absolutely a cool event. I tell you what, it's a great feeling when you're bumping out some honor push-ups and pull-ups right by the Statue of Liberty, with a bunch of beautiful men who put in some serious work for our country.
Yeah,
I got chills.
I know.
Man.
This is the same one that's on Fox and Friends. They have it every day, and this is one with Pete Hegseth. He goes
Every
out with
year,
you guys, right?
for the past couple of years. Yeah.
That's the same
I tell
one,
you
right?
Pete, yeah, Pete's a champion, man. Pete is a champion of this event. He took this event into the stratosphere, and you know
Yeah.
what? It took a lot of balls for an Army guy to get in the water with a bunch of SEALs.
Yeah, but those Army Rangers say they're better
Yeah.
than SEAls. You know, they
Yeah.
think that.
Yeah, take the floaties off of his arms.
I
while
know
they're-
some Army Rangers. Oh, the SEAls, blah, blah, blah.
I tell you what, I did a shooting competition down in Georgia. Was it Georgia? Recently by the SEAL Future Foundation, and I was shooting against the Ranger, and whoever lost the shooting competition had to do push-ups.
Mhm.
And I can tell you this: when it comes to shooting for push-ups, Rangers lead the way in push-ups.
I love that. Bill, I want to bring up something because I've been doing some research on you in anticipation of talking to you today. You know, you're so well known in the community of Navy SEALs, just all across the country as far as veterans go. But it didn't come easy for you. You know, you had a struggle, and that's how you ended up in the military. I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about that, how you came to this amazing career in the military, and how did you get the nickname Freak?
So on the last part, to be honest with you, so David Goggins is a friend of mine. We were in Bro Crew together in Hell Week and Buds, and we did some stuff in Iraq together. And he's got a really good book, and I'm honored to be in it, called Can't Hurt Me. But to be honest with you, most people would never call me that because it was fight right away. How do I think I got the name? I think I got the name because I grew up rough and tumble. I had a cleft palate. I had a lot of misplaced perspectives on life, but I did come from a very every man in my family served in the military. All my grandpops, my great grandpops, my dad, my uncles. So it was it was definitely part of my blood. When I got in there, I was very aggressive. I was very young, and I got humbled really fast in a brutal way. Those guys saved my life. And I think the nickname came apart because in some ways I was kind of at being an athlete and being aggressive, I was kind of a freak. And then in some other ways, I was kind of a freak too, because I had my shit pretty wild. And I tell you what, those guys were extremely harsh, but they saved my life. So that's kind of, the Navy saved my life. I've definitely expanded my horizons because one of the beautiful things is all of a sudden they're giving you responsibility. All of a sudden, you can be cool in high school if you're an athlete and good looking, but you can't be cool in a combat unit if your shit's not tight. So
Right.
Big lessons learned, man.
And it's not easy to become a Navy SEAL. I mean, that's a very elite.
It's not.
But I couldn't even come close to doing your Navy SEALs. Well, I wouldn't even make it to the water.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
phenomenal. I'm
I hope you
completely
guys
blown away.
come. You'll get the red carpet.
Well, I was
100%.
just getting ready to ask you about that. You were talking about this swim. Can you give us some ideas, if you have them handy, in regards to how much money's raised, where that money goes, how people watching this show can get involved if it's online and support what you do for veterans?
Yeah, so for a while, for the first 4 years, I was basically had another group as the beneficiary, but I'm moving on now, and I built a coalition with the Navy SEAL Foundation, Tunnels to Towers, and the Uncommon Grit Foundation. And I moved on to the Navy SEAL Foundation and Uncommon Grit Foundation because they're really more geared towards helping SEALs and helping guys in special warfare combat units. So I'm kind of biased that way. But the event would have never happened without law enforcement. And I've seen some of the great work that Tunnels to Towers does. So I built this beautiful coalition with all three of those groups. So you can feel free. I would say this: if I won the lottery, all my donations would probably go to those three groups.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a website that people can go to check it out by chance, or is that not the best way?
Oh, so if you go online, there's plenty of stuff right now, but I'm just I'm just finishing up like negotiations with all three groups, and I actually I have some contracts that I had to review now, and then I have a big sit down in Tampa Bay because I'm doing a Tampa Bay Frogman swim here next week in Tampa Bay with leadership in the SEAL teams and leadership with those organizations. So that those websites, I don't have it for you now. I wish I could give my give it some love, and I appreciate you guys trying to give me a softball pitch to hit a home run. But right now, it's a work in progress.
We'll,
Cool,
we'll keep
cool.
up
Yeah,
with
Well, I
you.
checked out Tunnel. I already checked out Tunnel to Towers
Oh, I'm
Foundation.
I've been
as well.
I
And
donate every month.
it's
Every
a-
month.
well,
Comes out
you
of my
can.
account. Yeah.
Well, they have it. You can
I-
donate. They have a donate button, $11 a month.
That's
Goes,
it.
goes a far way.
I absolutely love it. And I hope we can come out to New York when you guys swim across the Hudson. A friend of mine who is a Navy SEAL, Bob Gassoff, here in the St. Louis area, I'm hoping that he joins all of you and he completes the swim. He said he has several other buddies that do. And what I love about the Navy SEALs, you guys are such a tight-knit group of people. You all love each other. You're all brothers. I love it.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you that we're a bunch of. Here's the truth: we're a bunch of hard men, and there's no doubt that we make each other better. But we definitely love each other. But I got to tell you something. I don't know how you're looking at it, but the way I look at it, I can see all five of us.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of got like the picture of me in the background.
Yep.
And all I see is my big gut and belly.
It's not. I don't even
Ladies
know why
are
you
going
would say that.
crazy. The ladies
I
are going
love it.
nuts.
Hey,
Well, I can
Okay,
guarantee my buddy's going to go crazy with that.
hey, Bill.
I
That's
removed it
so
for you.
funny.
Bill, you said, you said we swim across this bay, we swim across this. Can you give me specifics on the distance that you're actually swimming and running? I'm just curious. I've always found it fascinating what triathletes do. I find it fascinating what military members have to do to become elite members to protect the country and be sent to the worst places in this world. You act like, yeah, we're going for an afternoon swim.
I know.
What's the distance? What do you guys do? The actual distances?
Well, it depends on how many rubber jellyfish you got to dodge.
Oh my God. Damn.
But if you swim, so a lot of long distance swimming, it really depends on your guiding, and it kind of depends on how strong the current is.
Yeah.
And so I work with the New Jersey State Police a lot. I do about 4 full dial-in swims with those guys to get it just right.
Mhm.
And then when the actual day of the swim, I try to because Pete and Fox have been such strong advocates of this event. I try to maximize the timing of the swim with their coverage as much as I can by judging with the tides. So let's say there's no tides and currents, and you swim perfectly straight as the crow flies, right? So from the south side of Liberty State Park in Jersey,
Yeah,
it's about a half a mile to the Statue of Liberty. From the Statue of Liberty to Ellis Island, it's about a half. And then coming from Ellis Island, the long stretch to South Cove Marina in Lower Manhattan, it's about 2. Now here's the truth. The truth is, I try to make it easy for my guys. So the hardest leg is the first leg, because that leg, basically the tide's kind of changing, and it's never really subtle. It's never complete slack, but it's changing, and so it's slightly pushing you the opposite way. But what happens is, once I get my full head count on the first stop at the Statue of Liberty, now it starts to change in the direction I want to go. It's pushing guys towards Ellis Island, towards, it's pushing them upstream in the direction we're headed. So the swim gets easier as the duration increases. And by the end, as you're coming up to South Cove Marina in Lower Manhattan, along that walkway there, it's like riding a wave in to the shore, because it's a strong push.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a great, I can tell you this, I would love to have you guys. It brings a lot of beautiful people. And, it makes, these type of events, I think, are really good, because they show, look, especially for the SEAL teams, because it shows the character of the guys that are really into SEAL teams. These are guys who put their life on the line over and over again, years and years. And now they're flying in from all over the country, swimming across one of the most dangerous and dirtiest rivers in the country. There's no BS. It is. And doing it to try to raise money to help other veterans. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and it doesn't happen without, Fox News. Salute to Fox News, salute to Pete, and salute to all my brothers in the SEAL teams, because to tell you the truth, I have leadership in the SEAL community that back me 100%. And not only that, all my brothers in Blue, NYPD, NJSP, Port Authority PD, and all my Red brothers, FDNY, and all those fire departments on the Jersey side, we've all come together to make that event. And that's how we pushed it through when we had different political powers in New York trying to shut us down. We didn't stop on COVID. Like, we kept moving, and I tell you what, I love it. I would love to have you guys come.
Yeah, well, Eric will do the final leg, okay?
Shh, watch your mouth.
Yeah, that's when they push you to the shore, Eric.
Exactly.
Well, you know what you got. You know what you guys could
do. I still won't make it.
You know what you guys could do? You could do the flag run in from South Cobarina into Ground Zero.
Yes.
I would have chills.
I would do it. I would do it.
Here's the rule, man. You have to have your shirt off.
I won't do it.
I'll sit back and watch.
Hey, man. So what you're talking about, all this stuff, it keeps going into my head and we talk about on the show a little bit, is I kind of feel like what you guys do and what we do on this show, and even to some extent, there's a wholesomeness that the American people are trying to get back to. Do you kind of feel it the same way as like the goodness where the American people, there's nothing good about, CRT in our classrooms. There's nothing good about keeping our borders open. There's a lot of bad stuff going on. Do you feel a wave of the American people right now trying to get back to a wholesome, if not religious nature, but just a wholesome nature of this country?
Yeah, I think, you know what it is? I think it's reflective response, right? So there's been a lot of push, and these couple of years have been extremely difficult for everybody. And I think a lot of people are kind of coming to the limits with some of this stuff. Like, hey, man, don't push sexuality stuff on our kids in school. Like, and you got parents rising up in these meetings, and I think yes. As far as the border, I've been to a lot of shitholes, man, and I can't blame somebody who's trapped in that for trying to come to our country for a better life. But I have to be honest, there's how many jobs do we have? There's so many people who are unemployed here, and every country has the right to say who can come in.
Not just that, it's the fentanyl, it's the kids that are coming over that are abandoned in the deserts. There's a total lack of doing this properly. And I agree with you. If you want to come to the United States, you go through the front door and you do the paperwork and you do it right. But it seems like we have really, just on the border issue, we got to get that taken care of. And then that kind of, it fixes a part of the American soul a little bit, you would think.
Yeah, to be honest, my assessment on the border is it's a tactic. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to flood certain states that are red.
Yes.
And try to turn in my opinion, it's a long-term political tactic.
Yeah, they're all voters.
Yeah.
And what it is, to be honest with you, they don't. Honestly, you have to say, do they really care about all those people that are suffering, coming through, or being used and manipulated by those cartels and all the drugs that are coming through because of porous? You have to weigh that out, and the answer would probably be maybe they do, but they're more concerned with political power. And you look at, well, how did it play out during the election? They played here. You have all these police officers put their life on the line for a country over and over and over every day, and now all of a sudden they're demonized, right? Because they had a weak political candidate and they're trying to rile up their base. So they racially polarize everybody, make almost every major city in our country unsafe, right? Why? For political power. So, hey, look what they did to those judges. They have protesters outside their house rioters outside their house, and then all of a sudden they don't care. They leak a drafted decision to rile up the base. They don't care about judicial process, due process. It's all, to be sincere, it's about power. And
Absolutely.
and so I think it's good. One of the things I try to do is I really tried to hold the moral high ground. And to be honest with you, I wanted to strictly be a veterans advocate. Like, that's what I wanted to be. And I just wanted to stick to that because God knows we need some champions out there. But
Yeah.
one of the things that happened was the last year, a couple of my buddies, they were shut down on social media because they spoke out about these COVID mandates. And these are guys who put their life on the line. I mean, put it on the line. Beautiful men. And all of a sudden their businesses are getting hurt. And it was horrible. And so I took the time, during the swim to kind of speak up a little bit about it. And then I realized, to a certain point, all of a sudden, my ability to express myself is getting deterred, and I'm getting pressured out by different forces out there, definitely in the legal community, and even in the veterans community. And so it's like, hey, look, I love our country. I love every man and woman who put it on the line for our country. I respect and love our police officers, and I knew what was happening to them was wrong because I saw what they did to my brothers in Vietnam. And so before you know it, like, here I am, I'm an advocate for free speech, and I'm concerned. But one of the things I think there were some mistakes made, and I think one of the big mistakes made was, look, we have to come across as rational. And so one of the ways I try to advocate is I try to, so look, here's the evidence, and I try to do it in a way that I hold the more high ground. And the other thing is, I realize that my intended target isn't my direct adversary; it's the audience. And the biggest thing I think, and so that's what I'm trying to do. And hey, I'll be honest with you guys. There's a lot of pressure out there to shut me down, 100%.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
I don't think that's going to
Wow.
happen.
Yeah.
Bill, I always say, being 24 years in local news, you have to be polite, but you have to be persistent so that people can't write you off as being, quote, crazy and uncontrolled when you're trying to make a point.
Yeah, well said. And I agree. And one of the things that I think people didn't realize, and this is one of the issues I have with the establishment in the Republican Party, is, look, man, our country's at a point here where they're literally infringing on free speech. And I tell you the truth, if you don't have the right to speak about things that are important, that you truly feel, what right do you really have?
That's right.
If you don't have the right to protect yourself, like Kyle Rittenhouse, right? He tried to protect his community, and they tried to make an example out of him, right? Not because of him, because they wanted to deter and intimidate and, of course, everybody else. The same thing with that couple, right? There's a rioters that came to the gated community. They take out the arms as an act of deterrence. They tried to,
They're in our backyard in St. Louis, Bill.
Yeah. So that, to me, that was scary because, look, if you don't have the right to protect yourself and your property, what rights do you really have?
Yep.
And so, look, there's a point now where you have to fight. The thing is, I'm advocating is fight, but fight in a tactful way that's going to maximize your impact, where you reduce the chances where they can, lollipop you with some label that's inaccurate, because that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Hey, Bill, somebody wants you to educate our entire audience. Could you please explain the difference between what SEALs do and what Delta do? And then if you want to have some fun with the two of them, go ahead.
Well, I think in the real world, I think SEALs and Delta, the two primary kind of ops that they do, I think are identical in a lot of ways: direct action and reconnaissance surveillance. Right? They're not trying to train any indigenous force. That I think that's really the two things they really do. And a lot of the stuff that we did over there, did some sniper ops. did some snatch and grabs where you basically take decision makers off the battlefield. And I think they do that. The thing that SEALs or team guys do that's distinct, I think, is anything to do with the water. I think we got a leg up on. Yeah, so that there's a lot of similarities. And a lot of the training, I think, is identical. I just think when it comes to waterborne ops, we got the edge. Yeah.
Who's better?
Stop it.
You want them
Well,
both
you
showing
know.
up. Hey, Bill, we appreciate you taking a lot of time with us today, man. We really do. Once again, when you have some stuff coming up, if anything you need to be promoted, if you have other ideas of men and women that we need to talk to, let us know. Thanks for promoting cancelthisshow.com, because we do have your guys back. We're trying to do that. That's what this show, this mission is all about, and talking to people like you who not only serve their country, but are still trying to serve in whatever way they can. Let us know, please. You're welcome here at any time.
Rick, Tabitha, Eric, thank you guys. You guys are, you're at the front lines right now, grassroots, and basically you're out there and speaking up and doing it in a way that reasonable people, a persuasive manner, and God knows we need you. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
there it is. SEAL Team 8 member Bill Brown, attorney, served his country so many ways. He was in Iraq. He does this swim to honor veterans. Eric, what, you think you got 3 miles in you in the water in the Hudson?
And if I'm in a tub, yeah, maybe in a bar.
And
I'll sit back and watch.
And anybody that, I'm curious, I'm assuming everybody that does that finishes.
Have you ever watched it? Have you ever gotten up early and watched it?
I saw part of it one year, like 2 years ago, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You have no idea. I mean, anybody go to a pool, swim 50 meters, and then you're like, ugh.
If you want to really feel bad about yourself, wake up at 7 a.m. and watch Pete Hegseth on swimming across the Hudson and all that stuff.
That's
and
why,
thinking
yeah.
it's like, what's the point of even getting up?
That's why
You
they're
feel
the elites.
You're so insignificant.
What a great idea to honor and
it is,
and raise money for veterans. And there are groups. There's groups in the St. Louis area that raise money for veterans, as well across the country. But we still see the situation that veterans fight all the time. Yeah. What an incredible guest. Yes. I promoted him as a badass, and I mean that in several ways, not just from a physical standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint and an intellectual standpoint, and dealing with what he's dealt with. I mean, these guys are a big reason why we have what we have in the country.
That's
and
right.
Then, you have health doctors come along and try to shut them down.
But these are the guys. And am I wrong in saying back in the day when you would go to your elementary school or your high school and they would have the police officer day, and you would celebrate them, and you would see the firefighters come on and you would celebrate them, and you go to, and then the military guys would, remember when the military guys would come to your school and try to actually recruit you? Remember that? I don't
know. I mean,
you never had that?
No.
We had it at my high school.
But I know it happened. I personally, maybe because I'm a female and things were different back then for females in the military. But Eric, you were 100% right. And what worries me is that Bill was fantastic. I know other Navy SEALs, other Army Rangers, fantastic people. But what about the younger generations? Are we going? I consider him like a manly man, a real man. How many more are there? I think they're the few and the far between these days.
I think that our government,
who's going to protect us?
Our government has grasped onto that toxic masculinity thing. They have literally, that is a talking point for our military, which is really ironic because they are the most masculine people on the damn planet. Our school systems, our public discourse now is public, displays of masculinity. John Wayne is kind of dead as far as the liberals go in this country, which is a really bad thing when you have a bunch of,
so sad too.
It's the
It
truth.
is so sad.
It's the truth. And when you talk about if the border, like he talked about, is if he's like, look, the real reason that the border's open, and we figured this out, it took us a while, but we figured out that they're trying to get their demographic.
Well, they're
so
voters.
They're trying to get their power
they're
base
Democrat
up.
voters.
Well, if they're doing that, Tabitha, and he was in the military, and he's going, look, this woke stuff that you're bringing in here, the transgendered stuff, the toxic masculinity in the military. Well, what's the agenda there? Because your military is supposed to be rock solid.
I can answer that for you, Eric.
I would love to hear it. Go
I
ahead.
will answer that for you. You know what the answer there is that the powers that be, the puppet masters, the regime that controls the country right now, they know the military are on our side. They are us. They are us. We are them.
Because they come from the small towns.
And
right.
well, it's not. We're freedom fighters. These people put their lives on the line to fight for our freedom, and that's exactly the opposite of what our government wants right now. What they want is they want a bunch of people who they can control. They can't control people like Bill Brown. We're going to talk to Charlie Strange next week. They can't control people like Charlie Strange. They can't control us. And you know what they're doing? They're coming after the military hard. They're coming after police hard. And that's because they be in the government, because they...
Who is the government? The deep
the
state
Biden,
government or the Biden
Well, it's
government?
all the same. It's all
really?
the same. It's all part of the same regime. And that's why they call them domestic terrorists, police officers. They're looking through their social media accounts to see if they're posting pro-Trump or pro-conservative statements. They want to weed us out of the military. They want to weed us out of the police department because right now they know they have no control over us.
So let's say they do weed us out. Let's say they do weed us out. Let's say that the reason that we would have, as a young man, 18 to 23 years old, would have joined the military back in the 80s or the 70s, which would have been to remember that in the Navy, it was to see the world, or it was to, it was just the look and feel of the men on those posters that you wanted to be you wanted to be the elite. If that's not it anymore, well, what is it? What is it that gets you to actually join the military? That's not rhetorical. That's a real question.
I would like to know, because right now recruitment is so low that not long ago they relaxed the standards and they said you don't even have to have a GED anymore to join the military. There was so much backlash on the Army that they had to backtrack on that.
One world government, someone said on the text line.
It's true.
One world economy.
And we are the only thing standing between them and us.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could have more masculinity. A real man in his show, the Colonel Joe Adams, and we thank him for joining us earlier.
Yes.
And he literally trained armies in 30 countries.
Yeah.
And most people know his story, but his story was so fascinating. My bosses made me get 2 different confirmations
To check him out.
and then we included him in the store. And it's like, oh my God, we've never seen anything like this
It's been
before.
a very masculine day, hasn't it?
And then we get Bill Brown, who comes on and
Hoorah.
does, yeah, exactly about what he's doing.
We need more of these
And
days.
by the way, I wanted to focus more upon what he's trying to do from a veteran standpoint. Do you have any idea what kind of an attorney he is? And you may not, and that's fine.
No,
That's
I
fine.
don't. And from what I read, it looked like, very well-rounded, a lot of different litigation and different things.
So
He's been doing it for a long time.
no, we appreciate, we're grateful that we have that. Of course, we always remind everybody to share the show, cancelthisshow.com. And if you came in late to the interview, you can always go there and check it out through our website, cancelthisshow.com. Go to the platforms that we have it on there for you as well. Save shows too. I also want to take a point in time. Tomorrow, we're still trying to put together. Do we have anybody confirmed
Not
yet?
yet.
For tomorrow?
I'm working on some folks for our free for all Friday,
Okay.
because we have fun on Fridays.
And we
Can-
try
can
to.
you
We're kind of
tease?
all over the place.
We have fun on
Can
Fridays.
you tease? Give me a little-
I'm working on someone that might be able to talk to us about extraterrestrial life, and are they amongst us?
I don't think so. I saw some
Are
information
they
myself.
amongst us, Eric?
I have some information myself.
Eric,
Maybe you're one
I-
of them.
I have a confession.
What's that?
You're an
New-
alien?
New Year's Eve,
You saw a UFO.
from a distance,
No, you didn't.
I saw George Norrie.
Wow!
I know.
You suck.
And I was in the middle of a conversation, and I'm like, "Oh, there's George." George looked over at me, and I was like,
Yeah.
because we knew each other. And I finished up my conversation,
Hmm.
and I was in line because I was getting drinks, and it was a long freaking line.
Yes.
And I'd been there for a while, so I finished, and I went over, and I couldn't find George.
Oh, Vic, you failed
I
us.
know. I was like, "No, what just happened?"
No.
You
Was he
failed
abducted?
us.
So then I looked at it. I was like, no, there was about 10,000 people there is what it seemed like. So I was like, okay, hopefully George will show back up again so I can get him on the show.
Okay.
That would be phenomenal.
Oh,
I
my
can't wait
gosh.
until tomorrow, not only because it's Friday, but I love Free for All Fridays. And they are some of our most watched shows. And this is our 6th week, by the way. Did you guys know that?
I did not.
We are in week number 6, isn't it? Or week 7. We're 20. Today's day 29.
The first one really didn't
Day
count.
29.
The first week didn't count.
No, it was like a rehearsal.
We were rehearsing. We were
Mhm.
rehearsing live. That's for sure. And now we continue, everybody, to thank you for jumping in with the show, doing what you're doing. Remember, 7 to 10 every day, podcast and live show combined into one. We're continuing to bring you the kind of guest Tabitha was talking about next week as well. And Kurt, as we let go today, says there are no terrestrials. If God didn't create them, they're not here.
Maybe God did create them, Kurt.
Maybe.
How do we know?
Exactly.
How do we know?
Too much
Dun,
confusion.
dun, dun.
That's why Paranormal Fridays kind of suck.
Creator of the heavens and the earth.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's like the new story around the campfire, Paranormal Friday. It's like they're just stories and they're interesting, but there's no proof at the end of the day.
No, I mean, for the most part, no.
So
I hate that.
we'll call it a show. We'll finish off things tomorrow. We appreciate you joining us. Thanks again to Colonel Joe, to Bill Brown, Scotty Gherkin, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel. I'm Vic Faust. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow for Cancel This.